Good afternoon and welcome to Law and You, a program that treats legal issues that meets everyday life. I'm your host, Philip Omo-Gyukbo. Today we have a very important and sensitive topic, sexual offenses and punishment under the Nigerian law. And we look at this every day, it happens every day, and leaving their victims with psychological, emotional, and physical scars after exploitation, and all of this go a long way to search for answers about questions being raised on, do we have laws in this regard that can tackle issues about the punishment for sexual harassment, or are these laws effective? Well, you agree with me that basically under the Nigerian law we have very, very appropriate laws in this regard, but how effective are these laws? And again, what can we say about the challenges that we are faced with in securing justice under the Nigerian legal system? Well, as usual, we have a legal expert that will help interrogate this basic and sensitive topic, and he is Emmanuel Obakolo. Big thanks for joining, Emmanuel.
It's a delight to be here.
Well, let's first of all take a close look at what the Nigerian law has to say as regard what sexual offenses are.
Okay, with respect to sexual offenses in Nigeria, sexual offenses is governed by a multi-jurisdictional framework comprising of the Criminal Code Act, Southern Nigeria, the Penal Code Act, Northern Nigeria, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, which is for the federal and a central of the laws. And also we have the Constitution, which is the ground norm. So, by virtue of the provisions of the Constitution as encapsulated in Section 34 of the Extant Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which provides thus that every person shall have the dignity of the human person. So the law protects the dignity of the human person. And by virtue of that provision, it shows that every human in Nigeria is protected with respect to his dignity. But then, when you look at that provisions of that law and every other laws with respect to sexual offenses is measures to the provisions of Section 34 of the Extant Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, let me take, for instance, the Criminal Code Act, Section 315 to Section 351 rather to 361 of the Criminal Code Act provide for offenses of sexual offenses.
But again, we should know what a sexual offense is.
Yes, sexual offenses is an offense wherein an immoral act is carried on a person with or without his consent.
With or without? I think it's better to say without the consent.
No, I will expatiate.
Okay.
With or without his consent. The person may give consent and along the line withdraw the consent.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Okay.
So it becomes an offense.
As at the point it happened, it's without the consent.
Even where he gives
Even
consent.
though at the beginning there was a consent, but at the time he or she now refuses, it's now without the consent.
Yes.
So better put is without the consent.
Even if the person gives consent, what if the person is a minor? What if the person is an infant?
Okay.
What if the person does not understand that act, but yet consent was given? And consent can also be gotten by fraud.
Okay.
You get it?
Okay.
So it can be with,
or
it can be without the consent. Okay. It becomes an offense. Hence, it contravenes the provisions of the law. Now, like I did say, sections 351 to 361 of the Criminal Code Act prohibits sexual offenses. Section 351 defines sexual offenses to be a misdemeanor. That once that offense is committed, it is a misdemeanor. And the punishment for that, the commission of that offense, should be 3 years. But with time, it becomes obvious that sexual offenses is now a day-to-day activity
in our society.
People are now engaged in it, maybe because the offenses, the punishment for the offense is so minor. The punishment is not grievous. So people now engage in it, maybe out of the influence of some other thing, maybe drugs and whatever they use to influence themselves to commit that offense. So the law with time began to evolve, and that was the reason why under the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, this law, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, came into existence, so that the law became more stiffer, to the extent that sexual offenses just now the punishment for sexual offenses can be life imprisonment. So you can say that sexual offenses can also be equated with other strong offenses committed, grievous offenses, because it is against the dignity of the human person.
Okay, you just said it can sometimes lead to life imprisonment.
Yes.
Okay, but again, because in the process of prosecuting such persons who are victims, or such persons who are accused or alleged to have committed such crime, would you say rape or sexual offenses could be bailable?
Yes,
that you can bail, the alleged accused.
Yes, but it is within the discretion of the court to so grant bail. Once the offense, sexual offense, is alleged against the person, the court does not even want to hear the issue of bail with respect to that person.
But the accused can be bailed.
If upon the prosecution of that person, or as upon the proceedings of trial, and the court discover that really the person is not really tied to the offense so charged, though on the face of the charge is sexual offense or offenses so alleged to have been committed by the person, but along the line the court discovered that this accused person or defendant just now is not really, did not really commit
or guilty of such.
The court may use its discretion to grant the person bail. That is one.
So that's at the discretion of the judge.
Yes. Two, on the other side, if the prosecution is not diligent to prosecute the matter, the court may look at it and say, okay, let me grant this person bail, because it seems that so much time is being taken to prosecute the person. This may be a condition or circumstances where the court can grant bail to an alleged offender of sexual offenses. However, it is within the discretion of the court to so grant bail. But it is a very Herculean task to grant bail to any person who is accused of sexual offenses.
Okay, but don't forget, we are under the Nigerian law. We are looking at it under the Nigerian law.
Yes.
And again, questions could be raised about the challenges that we could be faced with in this part of the world in securing justice. Are you not bothered about that? Can we say there could be challenges where someone who is a victim, who is emotionally, harassed, psychologically harassed, by virtue of what happens to that victim, how can that victim seek justice without having these challenges of issues that we face basically every day in Nigerian law under the justice system?
Yes, the court has been so diligent to allow the proceedings in the prosecution of an offender of sexual offenses.
What about if the accused is a public personality, for instance, or a political figure?
No matter your position in life, your status in life, the court does not look at your status. The only situation the court considers, and not to make such proceedings or prosecution of such person to be public, to be in public space, is where the victim is a minor. It's where the victim is a minor. The court, at such situation, the court may not allow the proceedings of such prosecution to be in public space. For instance, the court may only allow some staff of the court
to witness the proceedings.
Then the counsel of both the prosecution counsel and the defense counsel to be in court. That's what the court does. So the court will not, because the court wants to look at the stigma,
victim,
the social stigma that follows even after, during, and before the prosecution. So the court look at the stigma where a minor is involved in, or a minor is a victim.
Okay.
So in such situations, the court, like I did say, the court doesn't make it public. The court try to ensure that such victim may not be stigmatized.
Okay. Again, let's look at this in total. At the point where you were expressing, you mentioned the fact that there could be a point where, you know, a sexual offense can be punished with life imprisonment. At what point can we say a sexual offense? What could be that kind of offense that could make the, you know, laws of the land, you know, to make that punishment, pronouncement as life imprisonment on such an accused?
One, where the victim is a minor. Two, where the victim sustained grievous bodily harm. Three, where the victim was between life and death. And four, where there are medical examination to show that the victim has suffered a lot from that act, from the activity of the offender of sexual offenses. So in such situation, the court is likely, the punishment that the court may likely visit on the defendant is a life imprisonment. Also, the court has the discretion within the law to so do, particularly where the offender is somebody who is a recidivist with such offenses. He is somebody who is always involved in the commission of that offense.
Okay.
The court might not say, okay, this may be your last bus stop. You just go there and remain there perpetually until death do you part. So in such situation, there are some other factors that the court may consider discretionary to arrive at life imprisonment as a punishment or a sanction to be given to the offender of that offense at that time.
Okay, but let's see how the challenges that we could be faced with in securing justice for such victims. Have you been in a situation where you see challenges in the justice system in tackling that issue where, you know, the accused could be seen to, you know, leave the hook of being properly prosecuted in court by virtue of proximity to a high figure, you know, in the political realm? Have you engaged in such challenges, and what could such challenges be?
You know, our environment is a very unique environment that gives room to social status, that looks at the social status of every person.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have some allegation or accusation that has political flavor. So even when they are true or false, the situation the court may consider may be different, particularly where the prosecution fails to really prove that kind of or establish a prima facie case against the defendant on such situation. That is one. Two, the investigation that is carried out with the agency that has the constitutional responsibility to so investigate that kind of case before it may also lead to where the matter may not go further or may not go on as the case may be, and they may have a political way or a political solution to ensure that such prosecution is not carried out. But
okay, but
let's
look at the case between the Senate President, Akpabio, and Natasha, for instance. How do you see that case?
You know, that has a political flavor.
Okay.
So in such situation, I do not think that a prima facie case was established, particularly where the agency that is vested with the constitutional responsibility to investigate whether or not such situation, such thing happened. And you know, also, because of the bias, the political umbrella that covers that kind of situation, it didn't see the light of the day, because the parties that are involved have earlier been seen in different situations, even joyfully, happily between them. Yes.
As that close?
Yes. Even to the extent that one of the party even said that the husband was even aware of such situation.
Of such business.
Yes, and if the husband was indeed aware or is on the know.
You're talking about of such platonic closeness.
Closeness, yes.
Without any sexual
so, and the husband did not raise any alarm.
Or we can leave that to them to talk about, not basically what we can discuss.
I don't think that is...
Because we may not know how close they were.
Yes, I don't think in such situation it is really the duty of the court.
Okay.
Because like I did say, the investigations, first you start with the investigation. Okay. Those who carried out the investigation, were they able to establish a prima facie case of sexual harassment?
Okay.
That is the thing. So if that is not established, why bother the court or burden the court with the prosecution or the proceedings of such trial? Right. To my mind, I think it's a waste of time.
Well, the program is Law and You, and we have been talking about this aspect of sexual offenses and the punishment under the Nigerian law. You agree with me that in the process of this, the victims, they suffer physically, emotionally, and psychologically as these scars remain indelible on their minds. Again, how do we provide security or justice, making sure that we tackle challenges that may be hindering justice for the victims. Another point where we look into this is where we delve into more intriguing aspect of matrimony. Some could say, well, is it possible for a man to rape his wife? Well, you hear that after the short break. Do stay. Good to have you join. My name is Philip Omo-Gyukpo. I still have my legal expert, Emmanuel Bakpolo. Well, a lot of dust has been raised on our minds. We know that we are not in the Western world, but under the Nigerian law, can a man rape his wife? Because by definition, rape has to do with, sexually violating a woman or a man without his consent or her consent. So at this point where a woman is already married to a man, and then the man goes into that without her consent, can he be accused of rape?
Well, that is not common in our criminal jurisprudence.
Oh,
it is not common.
You mean it's
though generally it is accepted, it is agreed that a man can even rape his wife rather.
Generally, it is that a man can rape his wife. But under the Nigerian law, let's be strict about it.
Yes.
Under the Nigerian law, is it accepted?
Yes.
That a man can rape his wife?
Yes, generally.
So,
but there are exceptions.
Because we seem to live in a man's world in Africa, for instance, where it's always difficult for the woman to present a case against the man, most especially the husband. So in such a case, can the woman file a case against the husband under the Nigerian law, and then the husband will be accused and seen as guilty as charged?
Yes. It can happen.
Have we had examples like this?
That is why I say it is a
Under the Nigerian law practice, have we had examples?
It's a difficult one. We may not have a case in hand.
Exactly. We can't have tangible examples.
But there are situations where if a prima facie case is established to that effect, it's just for instance.
How do you establish
matrimony?
Case? That becomes a queer.
In a matrimonial issue now, for instance, it is the responsibility, the duty of the woman to always submit to the man, and the duty of the man to love the woman.
To always submit to the man.
Yes. Now, we're in a situation where...
So consent doesn't count here? When you say submission,
consent counts.
Submission to the man.
That is the general understanding.
Whether she's ready or not, she must submit.
That is generally, yes, that is the general.
Well, but if she isn't ready and she doesn't want to submit?
For instance, if she is sick.
Exactly.
Good. Does that general assumption applicable to her? The answer is a no.
But sometimes we believe that if the woman doesn't attend to the man at the time the man needs it, the man can go elsewhere.
That's no longer
so again, this is Africa. So how do we guide against that, where men could be seen to be raping their wives, and again where women can also retain their home, not doing anything that will make their husband look the next door?
In the first place, Mr. Philip, it will be difficult for a woman to cry out to say, my husband raped me. That is the first.
Under the African law.
Yes, it will be very difficult.
In the African setting.
Yes, it will be very difficult for a woman to cry out, my husband raped me. Very difficult.
Because our culture here does not.
Yes. But where a woman cries out, an investigation has it that such thing happened.
Yes, such husband raped his wife.
He can be charged. Particularly if, for instance,
what could be the evidence?
The man, if, for instance, both parties, both the husband and the wife, are aware that the man is diseased with a terrible disease like HIV, and the woman is free, and the man is now forcing himself on the woman.
That's a different case entirely. That's a different case entirely. That's a different case entirely.
What do you call it? It can amount to rape. It can amount to rape. So, generally, yes, a married woman can allege that the husband has raped her. But it is very, very difficult in our setting.
Okay,
in this environment.
Let's explore possible punishment for such a husband that could be accused, if found guilty, of raping the wife.
The law is there. If it is the one that
so the law be applicable
can sanction him,
it could still be applicable to what is
the provisions of the law.
Yes, to provisions of the law as regards someone raping another person.
Yes.
Outside matrimony.
Yes.
Or that of the matrimony could be a little bit easier in terms of facing the punishment.
Rape is rape.
Okay.
Whether it's in the matrimonial home or outside the matrimonial home.
Okay, but like you said, we've not had tangible evidence.
It's a very difficult one
in the Nigerian practice.
Yes, very difficult one, because our culture may not even give room for that. However, the law captures it.
Okay, well, let's look at the possible ways in which we can enforce quick justice in the process, because sometimes they say delayed justice is justice denied. So how can we have an effective justice system in the Nigerian practice where we can see justice being meted out so quickly? Because such a case could be basically, thrown overboard if it takes too long.
Justice is a three-way traffic. Justice to the courts, justice to the parties, and justice to the public. So you must consider all of this in your dispensation of what is called justice. So, and in most times in such situation, even the court look at the public in delivering judgment with respect to arriving at justice. So the question will be, this justice, has justice been done to the court? Has justice been done to the parties? Has justice been done to the public? So hence justice is a three-way traffic. Then the court must consider all of these factors in the determination of every matter that comes before the court. And that is why you see that most times when the court arrive at a judgment, most persons will shout, oh, why is this judgment like this? This judgment have been brought over. Oh, our eyes on judiciary. No, you are not privy to what transpired in the court. You are not privy to the facts and figures before the court. You are not privy to the evaluation of all the facts before the court. Because the court must do proper evaluation to arrive at justice.
Okay, again, how important is medical evidence in proving a sexual offense case?
Well, before now, medical evidence is an important ingredient.
Before now.
Yes. But just now, medical ingredient is still medical evidence is still an ingredient, but whether or not there is medical evidence that specifies that this act took place, because the act may be for a very long time. Like there is a matter of
so also have medical evidence, it has to be quickly examined.
Yes, and you know it must not be more than 48 hours, if my memory judges me correctly. Okay. And most times the offense must have been committed some 4, 5, 6 days, weeks before the complaint was made. In such situation, must medical evidence be an ingredient? The answer is a no.
Wow.
However, medical evidence is also an ingredient or an essential part.
But in such a place that you just made mention of, if we can get medical evidence, then what could be the evidence? Circumstantial?
Circumstantial.
Can circumstantial,
the oral evidence has
circumstantial have a way in the law?
No, the oral evidence has led.
Okay.
The oral evidence may prove. If in course of investigation, the offender agrees that yes, I did this, but it was once. I did it, it was twice.
If the offender agrees.
Yeah, agree. Then, do you now need the medical evidence to prove it?
Thank you so much. I believe it was quite a cool and having you to really look into this case. Big thanks for that big one. And we hope you oblige us in our next interview. This is much going to take on to this episode of Law and You, and I hope you found it very interesting. And this is basically where we should ensure that if we see something, say something, and never you allow any stigmatization to affect you, from doing what is needful. Sexual offenses happen every day, and it's a crime that we've been faced with in our society. It's an everyday thing, and so Law and You helps to bring light into these areas in order to tackle this headlong, so that we can have all of these abuses tackled and offenders punished appropriately according to what the law says. I am Philip Omogh-Ukpong. We'll do more intriguing topics same time next week. Bye for now.
joining us on the program Environment Watch on Independent Television. On the show, we'll be bringing you some of the exciting stories in the world of environment. Remember, the objective is to help you to be environmentally conscious so you can take action in protecting, preserving, and conserving the environment. I'm Sonny Duke Okosun. Welcome on board. Let's get started. Some farmers in the country have proffered workable solutions to address Nigeria's growing post-harvest losses estimated at $10 billion annually. The farmers proffered solutions in separate interviews in Lagos. Nigeria loses an estimated 30% to 50% of its total annual agricultural output to post-harvest waste. The loss is estimated at approximately 3.5 trillion naira annually and roughly at $3.7 billion to $10 billion are majorly driven by poor storage, inefficient transportation, and limited processing capacity. The most affected post-harvest loss crops include and are not limited to fruits, vegetables, and tubers. An agricultural analyst and crop farmer, Mr. Omotunde Banjoko, identified bad roads, multiple taxations, and poor storage facilities as the major causes of Nigeria's post-harvest losses index. The Lagos State House of Assembly has concluded its investigation into demolitions in 3 waterfront communities with affected residents presenting different demands. Chairman of the House Ad Hoc Committee, Mr. Nohim Adams, disclosed this during a stakeholders meeting with representatives of the affected communities in Lagos. The affected communities are Makoko, Shoguro, and Akwa-Agbon. Adams, who is also the majority leader, said the committee will submit its findings and the committee's positions to the Speaker and the 40-member Assembly. He expressed concerns over the shifting positions of community representatives during the discussions. Adams recalled that the communities had initially agreed to compensation but later changed their stance, describing the development as a setback in reconciliation efforts. At the committee's final meeting on Thursday, representatives of the 3 communities presented different views on compensation and relocation for displaced residents. The Alashe of Egun community in Makoko, Francis Agoyon, said affected residents should be permanently relocated rather than compensated. Similarly, the Baale of Makoko, Chief Emmanuel Shemade, said residents preferred relocation to financial compensation. However, he urged the government to clearly state where displaced residents will be relocated and define the demolition boundaries in Makoko, Shoguro, and Akwa-Agbon. In contrast, Shoguro representative Mr. Bola Ayande said the community preferred financial compensation. Ayande suggested that each affected resident should receive about 10 million naira, noting that an average bamboo house in the area costs between 4 million naira to 5 million naira. The Hadija Jamare River Basin Development Authority has restarted construction of the Kafin Zaki Dam project in Ningi local government area of Bauchi State, abandoned for over 40 years. The authority's managing director, Rabiu Bichi, dropped the hint during an interview in Kano shortly after the inspection of the project. Bichi said that the project, initiated under Ibrahim Babangida military regime, was halted shortly after commencement. He said the authority was reviewing the project in partnership with the Bauchi state government. Bichi said that compensation was paid to affected farmers 40 years ago, but its abandonment led to resettlement issues. He explained that efforts were underway to relocate residents and provide alternative settlements. The dam's completion is expected to boost irrigation, water supply, and agriculture in Bauchi State and beyond. It is seen as a key to unlocking agricultural potential and addressing water management challenges in northeastern Nigeria. study led by researchers at Columbia University and Woods Hole Oceanography Institution, WHOI, identifies a diverse set of molecules released by marine phytoplankton that fuel microbial life and help drive Earth's carbon cycle. While scientists know that carbon is moved through an invisible network of phytoplankton and other microbes in the surface ocean, the specific compounds have long been a mystery. These compounds are small, chemically difficult to detect in salty seawater, and are rapidly consumed by other organisms almost as soon as they are produced. Phytoplankton, a type of microscopic organism, take in carbon dioxide, CO2, and convert it into organic carbon through photosynthesis like plants. Each year, this process moves many tens of billions of tons of carbon through the sunlight surface ocean and contributes to the oxygen in the air we breathe. These massive neutral carbon flows highlight the central role the surface ocean plays in regulating Earth's carbon cycle. Data centers consume millions of homes worth of electricity each year, with much of that electricity simply powering the cooling systems that keep the facilities operational. Researchers at Penn State are addressing this inefficiency by using artificial intelligence AI to dynamically adjust data centers' power usage to peak when the weather is favorable and electricity is affordable. The term developed software powered by a new physics-based AI learning model that analyzes real-time climate and economic data to optimize data center cooling. The software works by simulating a virtual data center that serves as a training space for an AI agent, a system that can make highly complex decisions and learn over time. A trained agent can provide cooling recommendations personalized for the climate and economic market of a data center specifically optimized for a facility's location. The new approach is detailed in a paper accepted and set to be presented by the researchers at the IEEEI ITHEM conference in May later this year. Thanks for rejoining us on the program Environment Watch on Independent Television. Let's move on. For the first time, scientists have used ultraviolet UV light, a low-cost and readily available energy source, to successfully synthesize more sustainable and recyclable polymer materials. Led by green chemistry experts at Flinders University and just published in the High Impact Journal of the American Chemical Society, the development is a major step in making polymers high in sulfur content for more sustainable plastic alternatives using waste materials. Over the past decade, the Flinders University team has shown these highly flexible sulfur-rich polymers can be used in a wide range of high-value applications, from heavy metal land and water remediation, as well as optics for infrared imaging and even novel antimicrobial agents. The latest research promises to make them even more adaptable and affordable. Researchers uncovered the roles of bacterial species from the environment as they consume biodegradable plastic. Biodegradable plastic could help alleviate the plastic waste crisis that is polluting the environment and harming our health. But how plastics take to degrade and how environmental bacteria work together to break them down is still largely unknown. Understanding how plastics are broken down by microbes could help scientists create more sustainable materials and even new microbial recycling systems that convert plastic waste into useful materials. Now, MIT researchers have taken an important first step towards understanding how bacteria work together to break down plastics. In a new paper, the researchers uncovered the role of individual ocean bacteria in the breakdown of a widely used biodegradable plastic. They also showed the complementary processes microbes use to fully consume the plastic, with one microbe cleaving the plastic into its component chemicals and others consuming each chemical. Fires can inject millions of tons of gases and aerosol particles into the air, affecting temperatures on a global scale. But picking out the specific impact of individual events against a background of many contributing factors is like listening for one way to quiet the noise and identify the specific signal of wildfires and volcanic eruptions, including their effects on Earth's global atmospheric temperatures. In a study appearing this week in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, the researchers report that detected statistically significant changes in global atmospheric temperatures in response to three major natural events: the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in 1991, the Australian wildfires in 2019 to 2020, and the eruption of the underwater volcano Hunga Tonga in South Pacific in 2022. New Stanford-led research traces a direct line from extreme weather to a massive dengue outbreak in Peru. The findings serve as a warning and the seed of a possible solution. Diseases historically absent from the United States have been showing up in Florida, Texas, California, and other U.S. states in recent years. To understand why, look to Peru. That's where researchers from Stanford and other institutions analyzed the connection between a cyclone and a massive outbreak of dengue fever, a mosquito-borne viral disease that can cause fever, rash, and life-threatening symptoms like hemorrhage and shock. The findings, published March 17 in One Earth, reveal that warmer, wetter weather linked to climate change is making disease epidemics more likely. Ghana is hosting a pivotal three-day strategic meeting of the African Group of Negotiators, AGN, bringing together UNFCCC national focal points, African lead coordinators, and key partners to consolidate Africa's common position ahead of the 31st and 32nd sessions of the Conference of the Paris COP31 in Antalya, Turkey, and COP32 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The meeting taking place in Ghana marks the first in-person strategic convening under Ghana's chairmanship of the AGN. It is expected to deliver a practical roadmap to strengthen Africa's negotiating platforms, sharpen continental priorities, and reinforce coordination within AGN and the broader African three-tier negotiation structure. The program Environment Watch on ITV for this week. Be sure to join us same time, same station next week on the fresh episode of the program. And I'm Sonny Duke Okosun, thanking you for staying with us. Have a great week ahead. Bye for now.
ITV, certainly the best.
TV, certainly the best.
Ojúde aṣáájú abẹ́rẹ́ pé. Àyàbá aṣáájú abẹ́rẹ́ pé. Àlàyé aṣáájú abẹ́rẹ́ pé. Ẹgbẹ̀júwà.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
Omonoba Nedu Ukwakolopolo, Ewai II, Oba of Benin, stepped out majestically with loud crowd to perform the Sultan rites of his late mother, Queen Mother Ioba Omoni Ikoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, who departed this world 49 years ago. Isoton is a traditional rite of the procession in memory of the departed person's spirit in Benin Kingdom. It is usually heralded by public display of the departed person's influence during their sojourn on earth. The display of a human effigy symbolizing the departed royal matriarch was preceded by the Oba of Benin, who led the procession from his palace to the Immortal Shrine at King Square in Benin City, where he offered prayers for the repose of the soul of the Queen Mother, Ioba Ewai II. Thereafter, the priest assigned to the Immortal Shrine offered Oba Ewai II items for Isoton on behalf of his family. However, chalk, known as Uri, represented a mixture from royal fans after ancestral spirits were invoked to bear witness and announce his arrival. On his way home, Oba Ewai paid tributes at various pilgrimage sites, including Queen Idia Tomb, the Side Oba Market, where a cheerful crowd of traders abandoned their wares to catch a glimpse of the royal personage and join in the celebration.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
Viewers, welcome to Viewpoints on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji. And today on Viewpoint, we're going to be talking about the current electricity issues and situations that we as business owners, as individuals, are facing in Nigeria, as over 80% of households lack adequate access to grid, as Nigeria's electricity sector suffers from chronic liquidity trap and infrastructural decay, leading to frequent national grid collapses, with generation dropping below 4,200 megawatts, far short of the 4,000 megawatts required for its citizens and population. It is a Viewpoint on ITV, and we're going to be looking at some of the key issues affecting our electricity sector in Nigeria. I am Caroline Okonji.
In terms of security of it, we need light. And based on that, in some areas, it makes it difficult for us when we are on patrol at night. And we are even begging the state government to try and do something, at least by supplying street lights in some area that are dark in the night. In most cases in our community, there are places that is very dangerous, that without light we cannot do anything of such. For so doing, we want, as a matter of urgency, the Edo State government to try and do the needful, so that the security will be okay for us, so that we can be able to work effectively.
The issue of NEPA issue that you came from is very rapid to us, in the sense that the NEPA look as if we are not a citizen of Nigeria, because since a month there's no light in us. We have been passing through. Which NEPA, anytime they came, a minute or 30 minutes to, they will come and bring the light to us. That is, we are not expecting them to come and collect their bill. Indirectly, we are expecting bill from them to come and collect it. Within that hour or 2 hours, you will see a number of people with a ladder. They will come. They will come. And after their collection, there's nothing like light again. They will block us up. I think before we have this light, they mandated us to buy a meter, which we bought individual. We pay through the NDC, we have our transformer here, not through NEPA. Before we got out this light, they mandated us to write an application of submitting it to the NEPA as a will to them. And we work for it. And we should not claim ownership. And we fought for the transformer. And after that, again, they came that there is no oil in it. We pay up to 1 point something again. Before, after all that, they came up again, said it was meter issue again, that every community, every houses have to have a meter, which we did. We have to. I have my own receipt. I have my paper meter in my residential house here. So after all that again, they came up with a past bill. We, before we make that transformer, got that transformer, we've been blacked out for 10 years here. They came with a bill to us again that we need to pay a standing bill. We went to Testament, their office there. After we left the one at the bypass, they were delivering us before they now refer us to the one at bypass. I don't want to mention the name of the manager there. Got in there again, he said we have to go for all those things, we need to fulfill all those things, which we did. After that, they now on the light for us. As they on the light, not up to a month, we were still in blackout again. So at the end of it, we went again, they said it was according to them, that the electric wiring Mange. That was the cause that the man cut us off again from Iyowa again, which we not pick. Leave that matter again. The Chile community, which is the Kabetu, Igbo and Igbo. After that, they brought a light for a week again. After a week, they cut us off again. They said Iyowa is owing. We now went to the office again and told them that if Iyowa is owing, does that mean it affects our community? We are blackout. So I told you this. So before we sort all those things out, we have already made up our mind. We can go away with our neighbor. When our father was living with a lamp and all these things, we were enjoying it. We cannot be paying for what we are not using. We cannot be paying for what we are not using. So if they feel they want to cut us off from this NEPA issue, they should cut everybody off totally, so that we will know that we are not with NEPA. Not that after 3 weeks, they will not bring a light under 22 hours or 3 hours. They will come and collect their money. It's unfair to the masses.
The electricity issues and challenges that BEDC in the state is devastating, in the sense that as a minister I suffer a lot in terms of electricity. As an individual, not only me, the entire people of Edo State, and not only in Edo State, Nigeria as a whole, we are really facing electricity challenge in the country, in the sense that we are not getting constant light. Even though the tariff of electricity is high, people don't even get the light. I don't know how the government will enhance constant light for the Nigerian people, especially in Edo State here. We are seeing the government are not taking a proactive step towards this direction. But if the government will be able to ensure that people are paying for electricity and they are not getting electricity, government should take a drastic step in this direction by making sure if people have constant light, people will want to pay for it. But a situation where you don't see light, at the end of the month you see BEDC personnel coming to people's house to come to cut lights, is really a problem. My major concern is that let them provide us electricity and people will pay for it. But a situation whereby we don't have constant light, out of 24 hours, people cannot boast of 3 hours light in a day. It's a problem that we are really facing. People who are doing business cannot do business effectively. People who are doing business, they want to make sure their food stuff does not get spoiled. Nobody can preserve their food again. Even though they cook, you cannot preserve it. Even though electricity for our artisans to work, they cannot get electricity to empower their equipment in order to boost productivity for the entire society. It is really a problem. The state of electricity in our country, in our state, is very poor. Very, very poor. We don't know how government is creating effectiveness on this aspect. We say Nigeria is generating electricity and the neighboring are getting electricity, and the people that are in this country are not benefiting it. Nigerians, we are crying. As a person, I am crying. We don't say as an individual we don't want to pay for electricity. We are not saying that they should give us light for free, but let them make light available and let people pay for it.
They often tell us the national grid is collapsed. So ultimately, it's to develop enough capacity, the whole process of generation, distribution, and the rest of it. And then the enabling law, the happy thing recently is that they have said is deregulated. State governments and private investors can now enter the electricity market, generate and sell. So we do hope that will be a great deal of improvement, because without electricity, really, we are going to remain in the Stone Age. We cannot industrialize. Even domestically, we cannot have the comfort we should derive from electricity. We should consider all the options, whether the new sources like wind, solar in our country, so that we're able to generate enough for our consumption. The darkness is cover for any kind of nefarious activity. Yeah, so if the place is not well lit or substantially lit up, people can ordinarily hide under the cover of darkness to perpetrate just anything, not just robbery, kidnapping, and whatever you have. Yeah. Don't also forget that we now have private investors. The government doesn't have so much to do with electricity anymore, apart from regulation. So they also have to maximize their profit. So it may have been a mistake in the first instance, divesting from electricity at the level of government.
Let me talk about the state where I live, where I reside. The total blackout is nothing to write up about. We really suffer when it comes to light. Edo is suffering. I think our governor is trying to, we have to do more. Our Excellency, Senator Monde, our governor of Edo State, executive government, you have to do more when it comes to that light issue. We are suffering. There are some of us who can provide electricity for ourselves, solar and all that. Maybe a generator, this was the case, but not everybody. And so at this junction, I think it is expedient that our governor looks straight into this issue and solve this problem. What would I call it? I don't know the right English to use. The right English right now, we have serious problem when it comes to light. Businesses are going down. Those selling drinks, those who have koro, without generator, you can't do anything. And the J is on the high side. Those small jewelry, those are better passing our neighbor used to buy them 30,000, 10,000. Now you can't buy it. Then the other one is the Tiger and the LMX 1 point something for ordinary generator. So it doesn't make any sense at all. So we're begging on our executive governor, the governor that knows what to do, to please to look into us and save us from darkness. Then when it comes to these funny BDC people, we're raising a child that came from the US and the others. The first thing they learned in Nigeria is NEPA don't bring light. Children brought from abroad. The NEPA don't bring light. Can you imagine such? And so these funny people, 2 days, they'll bring the light on and off for 2 days. The next thing they'll come with their estimated billing. They start dragging people, wires and all that. It's high time. I think it's high time we stand our ground and let them know that we're not fools. We are Nigerians. We all own this nation. It belongs to nobody. It belongs to nobody and it's for everybody. We should stand our ground and fight for our rights. This BDC, I bet may they pack, may they go. NEPA still better pass. You can't go out at night when there is no light. The security issue. Is what the government is trying. I cannot chrome them in one day, but we individual too. Like the police used to say, see something, say something. But sometimes when you say something, they use you as a bait, and so we need to. Edo State government need to give us security as well. Nightlife in Benin is almost gone, but I also want to say kudos to our governor. For the first time, December free of bloodshed. It was wonderful. December, look, we have most of our people in Nigeria right now, those living in diaspora, those living abroad. Many of them came December and this January. And they came and they're enjoying it. So I believe our excellent governor, our excellency can do more about that to give us more security. Like those if you're traveling from Benin to Akure, Benin to Ifon, those roads are no go area at night. You can't date. So I believe with all hands on deck and our governor and the police, our CP, let's hope and pray for our action governor to do something about insecurity.
ADDC, since they came in, I don't think they have done well by my own assessment. And darkness is synonymous with demonic things. And they have thrown their city into darkness, Benin City, Edo State as it were, is in darkness. And I think that the government should step into the matter to do something about the situation. Because the way I look at it is that, for me, I think it is deliberate. Because there are some areas that have light. They call it dedicated light. So why can't everybody have the same light? Because there are areas for 2 weeks no light, for 1 month no light. Some people have 3 hours a day. Some people have 1 hour. And if they bring light in this 20th century, people shout, hey! They'll be saying up NEPA instead of up BEDC, which is BEDC. So the thing is that government should step in and help us. People are dying, and most people are paying for darkness. They go there, they threaten people, they bring light when it is wanted for 3 days, 2 hours, 3 days, they come and collect money and they shut it down again. So I think the government should step in. If they are going to be thrown out, they should be thrown out and bring people who can give us light, who are ready to pay. It was privatized. That was a good intention by government, but the people that did it, I'm sure they gave it to their cronies who does not know anything about the management of light, and that's why we are where we are. It has really hampered nightlife because you don't work in darkness, and the only thing that is helping us now is this solar that we go put everywhere, and some persons that have money to buy diesel and buy fuel. It's not everybody that have that kind of money, so it has really disturbed or hampered nightlife. But government is trying to bring it back by putting street light and everything. So we commend them. We pray that God will give government more power, more strength, more wisdom to do what they have to do. And the individuals are also trying by helping to lighten up everywhere. So we praise them. But for BEDC, I think they should go. Make better people.
The situation of electricity in Benin here now, I will give them at least 30%. They don't give up 50% from areas. But I wish the government can improve, because if you see what is happening to us now, we use our hand to define electricity. Some of us will go generator for us, some of us will get solar, some of us will go generate big blister. All these people will get like hotel. So I wish the government will really improve for electricity. All those generators will become condemned money for our hand. You understand? So people are not going to go for it. And money, now they need to put, because that energy, that light will really linger. If light day for this, imagine if you come for here for Silok Road now, government already put light, but in the evening, everywhere will be dark. So where there is light, everything, even the security aspect of itself, anything concerning light is too plenty. Okay, one particular. So we need light. If I come out for office now, if light no dey, we must buy generator. At least from office, I dey buy at least, if I'm not mistaken, 5,000 every day for sure. Imagine a times 1 month, na big money. I think na money. From there, I will see look at this make we come here say we want to go for solar. Make we use solar to stabilize them, because solar dey give us more, make savings from the fuel aspect of it. So if you get light, nothing like light, your light can carry AC, can carry everything for us. And to the noise, no go even give you that noise issue. So we prefer light more than any other thing.
The light is our problem. We are suffering for light. You can see our business without light, we cannot improve. We need light. The show of light is very, very, very low. I don't know if it's very low. We need light. The show of light in Edo State is very poor. Patronage is very low. You can see we import fuel at least every day 10,000, 15,000 a day. But you can stay 2 days, 3 days, no light. The show of business is very, very, very low. Very low. So we are begging government to improve on light aspect. That light, you cannot sell bulb, you cannot sell fan. You understand? When you have light, you prepare to buy fan. Not everybody can provide solar for his house. Actually, we need light.
Electricity in Benin City or in Edo State has been with mixed feelings, because to some they will give the positive nod that they are faring well with the supply of electricity, but with some become so epileptic of recent. Me personally, I have discovered that we are not paying for what we get, or we don't get what we pay for. The reason being that the regulatory body that's supposed to to task the BEDC are not doing enough to satisfy a customer by way of ensuring that you get what you pay for. For those who are using prepaid meter, there are reports that suggest that even the prepaid meter is even overbilling or overcharging consumers. As against what the government is telling us. Only recently we discovered that the BDC keep complaining that the generation company is not supplying them what they ought to get, which will in turn affect the consumer. And even at a point, they also raise the issue of federal government owing them. But just recently, the federal government has paid a huge sum of money to liquidate what they are owing this distribution company. But looking at the experience of consumer in terms of the electricity supply, it is so appalling. They will either give you excuse of faulty transformer, which they left for the consumer to contribute money to fix, whereas it is supposed to be the onus of BDC to fix the transformer so that they can in turn supply electricity to the consumer who pay for that service. It's like you are buying a recharge card. I am not sure that the recharge card you buy is what they give you. It varies from quarter to quarter. It varies from consumer to consumer. For example, for those who have been using the analog or the estimated billing, you will discover that whatever they bring, which is not subject to negotiation, by the time you now procure your own prepaid meter, they will bring everything inside the bill and begin to roll out deductions arbitrarily without consulting with the consumer. Even the estimated billing they brought was not even discussed by the consumer. So, and there is nobody that is there to advocate for the consumer or to leverage on the complaints. Nobody to complain to. So that makes it very, very heartbreaking. So for me, I believe the federal government and indeed the lawmaker, the National Assembly, should set up a body where consumers can run to and lay their complaints so that there can be an equilibrium between the consumer and the BDC, for example.
To wrap it up on Viewpoint on ITV, we're going to be highlighting some of the key issues that was actually mentioned by our respondents, which some said it is as a result of poor maintenance, gas supply shortage, and poor metering, just to list but a few. And the government at all levels, they are expected to do the needful and do the right thing to ensure steady power supply for citizens in order to boost means of livelihood, especially for business owners in the country. It is Viewpoint on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji.
ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
ITV, certainly the best.
Hello and welcome to WIC Women in Conversation on ITV. My name is Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and this is a place where women sit together to discuss those affairs that are affecting women. We talk about everything. When I say everything, I mean everything. But today we're going to be talking on polygamy. I am not doing this alone, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the basket. Let's talk about polygamy before I call my co-anchors. Yes, we're going to be talking about polygamy. The topic for today is polygamy. So some people say polygamy is unhealthy. They say no matter how much money you throw at polygamy, you can't find true peace. While some people say polygamy helps maintain marital discipline. And for Ned Nwoko, he says, I feel sorry for men that have only one wife because they stand on one leg. I am going to be doing this today with Chisom Agbafu. Chisom Agbafu is a barrister and a legal practitioner.
Yeah, hi, Patricia. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Did I invite you? You are a house member. I didn't invite you. You are a member of WIC. So,
oh, yeah, that's true.
Yes, you walk in here yourself.
That's true.
And then, of course, I have on my left, Princess Edith Madejemo. Princess Edith Madejemo is CEO, Friedrich Gold Global Limited. Edith, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. Good day and welcome to WIC.
I'm just saying welcome because probably I'm the one starting to this program. But these two people here are in-house women hold them responsible when you see them outside. They are members of WIC. So let's go proper to today's program. The topic today is polygamy. Chisom, let me start with you. What is polygamy?
Polygamy, I think we all know what that is. You know, when a man has more than one wife, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, multiple wives together. So I think that is what polygamy entails. And so polygamy for me, it all depends on purpose. You know, a lot of people go into polygamy for different reasons. And so if your purpose is not reasonable enough to why you're going into polygamy, then for me, it is just total premium foolishness. I mean, that's how I see it. You know, so if your purpose is just to, you know, satisfy lust or just to do what others are doing based on you need it for pride, because of your pride, you're a chief and you just need 2 or more wives to be there, then the purpose is not enough, unlike what we have as at then, where the purpose is for legacy, you know, for keeping your legacy alive, for making sure that you have 2 or 3 people you can bring together to increase support, you know, something like that, to create a family, a longer generation of family.
For
and all
farming.
of that. Yes. So that it depends on the purpose. So polygamy for me, it's purpose. They work in tandem. If there's no purpose, then it is premium foolishness for me.
Wow. For premium foolishness. Let me laugh to that. Wow. I'm sorry, viewers. I just needed to laugh. But anyways, Edith, Senator Ned Nwoko says he feels so sorry for men that have only one wife because it means they are standing on one leg. But if you have more than one wife, if you have 2, you have 3, you're standing with two legs, standing with 3 legs or 4 legs. What is your take about that?
Well, that is his personal opinion and his definition of polygamy. He may have his reason for saying that. He did not just start polygamy today. He started way long ago. And I believe he has a cogent reason for going to polygamy. Because for you to have 1 wife, 2, 3, up to number 6 or number 4. So I think he's enjoying it. So he has seen the positive side and the negative side of a polygamist. You know, but if you ask me, I would say polygamy is an intentional thing. Yes, because when you want to go into polygamy because you want to go into it, not because you see others doing it. You understand? When you want to go into polygamy, don't justify it. Be responsible for it. Take responsibility for your action, whether good or bad. Just like he's facing right now. He's facing the music. So that is it. So when you are going into polygamy with your full chest. Take responsibility of it. Don't justify it for any reason. Don't say I go into polygamy because I see ABC go into it or I see somebody else doing it. Go into it because you choose to do it and you take responsibility for your action.
Wow, take responsibility for your actions when you want to go into polygamy. That's what Edith has just said. But then again, some people say, just like I read out before we started the program, some people said polygamy helps maintain marital discipline. Is this true or not?
Polygamy helps maintain marital discipline. It is not true. I mean, look at, you know, polygamy depends on structure, you know. There has to be a structure in place. If not, there's bound to be consistent conflicts. You have 4 wives. You don't have a management structure. You just marry them because you feel, oh, I'm a man and I can handle it. There's bound to be conflict. So the area of discipline goes out of the picture when there is no structure in a polygamous home. So that's why I said, if we are talking about polygamy now, let's compare it as at then and now, when our ancestors were doing it. They had a structure in place, though they were not rich. So I won't say polygamy now is based on, oh, if you have money, because the conflict, if you can't manage it, then there's bound to be issues. So as at then, they had a structure in place. They knew the purpose to which they did that is because these are my children. I have multiple wives. They give birth to multiple children and all of that. The first wife is her turn to go to the farm. You know, they had a lot of structure then and respect. But as at now, there is no structure anymore.
Hmm.
People just do these things because of maybe religion say I should do it. Maybe you're from the Muslim tradition and they say, oh, marry more than one wife. Even I think the Quran says if you are able to manage, so they still
care for them and love them at the same time.
So if you're able to
care for them equally,
correct her. So if there's no structure in place where what you're giving A, you're giving B, and they can all manage together, then there's bound to be issues. But nowadays, a lot of people go into it, they don't even have the emotional capacity to manage these women. They don't even have the financial capacity, let's even put it that way, even if money is not a factor to maintain a peaceful polygamous home. But then a lot of people feel, okay, it is my tradition, I'm the first son, and it's my entitlement, my grandfather did it, and I must do it. Definitely, there's bound to be a problem. This first wife doesn't have a son, this one has a son, so you're feeding this other one better than, if there's no structure, if you can't love all of them together at the same time, then there's about to be issues. You're going to die slowly.
Let's come to love. Let's come to love. Can you love more than one wife or more than one person? Because I do not know what people define love as. Yes, the Christ kind of love, you can actually love multiple. But the other kind of love, I don't know how you want to love more than one person. Is it possible to love more than one person?
Can a man love two different women at the same time?
Yes.
I don't think that's possible. You can love this particular woman at this moment because of one reason or the other. And before you know, the table will turn. I don't think a man can love two different women at the same time for the same purpose. No, it's not possible for me. I'm not a man, but from all perspective, I would say that is not possible. But then, when you decide to go into polygamy, like Chisom rightly said, you have to be emotionally ready, financially stable. You need emotional to back that's your big polygamy home that you want to put in place. The wives, the children, the finance. Because this one will start having children and the other one is having children. You will not ask this one to pause because the other one is having children. You understand? So you have to be emotionally ready for it. Then polygamy, is it biblical?
Okay, this is where I miss Abiodun.
Yeah,
because she would have quoted a part of the Bible where it says polygamy, it's not allowed as a Christian. So
some people would say, yes, Solomon was a polygamist. Solomon was a polygamist, and the man is a polygamist in nature. That is what is giving men this big head. This big head and this big heart to do the unthinkable. Yeah, that is it. This notion that it is a man's word. Man is polygamist in nature. So when they are going into it, they already have a backup. They already have somebody or some persons, that will back them on, like that is a natural thing, that if I go into a polygamist, it's not a new thing, I'm not going out of place. Are you getting it? So now, you are saying Solomon married 300 wives. Will that stop cheating? When Solomon married 300 wives, he still went ahead to have 700 concubines.
Wow.
Does that stop cheating?
So it's in the Bible. Abiodun should have been here, so it's in the Bible.
Yeah, it is. It is.
To be a polygamist.
Yes.
Wow.
Will that stop cheating? If you ask me, I will say no. Being a polygamist will not stop cheating. Men are not satisfied in nature. If you say that, I will take it. Not man is a polygamist in nature. Man is not a polygamist in nature. Men are insatiable in nature.
Okay.
That's why, sorry, somebody will now say, like you said, you quoted Ned Woko. He said, I pity men who stand with one leg. So he doesn't know that sometimes that one leg alone is stronger than 20 legs.
Yeah, at times.
Yes. So you can't say, oh, I pity men who only stand on one leg. That one leg has a very strong foundation. If it is rooted in one foundation, then it is bound to whatever you place on it will stand.
Let's digress a little. There are some men that goes into polygamy for the purpose of old age. Because they will be thinking, who will take care of me or who will look after me in my old age?
So they marry younger people.
They want to marry a younger person to look after them in their old age. Why some go into polygamy without any reason? They just want to flirt around, they just want to have fun for the now.
That's why I said purpose.
Yes.
If you're going into polygamy without
You have to-
a clear purpose, it is premium foolishness.
Premium foolishness is this.
Premium foolishness. It is premium
so
foolishness.
when you want to go into polygamy, have all this in place and know that things are going to crop up at the long run. Okay, now you want to go into polygamy because you are thinking of how your old age will be. You may have to be intentional about how they treat their wife. You have to be intentional about how you treat your wife. If you treat her rightly, you care for her at the young stage of marriage or at your young age, at your old age, she will care for you. She will certainly care for you. There are some women that even when their need arises for them to travel, to go and do omugwo, that is what men are scared of. Because at old age, women will always go around to do omugwo, visit their, they take care of their grandchildren, which the man cannot do. But if
you can travel with your husband.
If you take care of your wife, you treat her rightly at your young age, I kid you not, the kids will make sure they put things in order to take care of you, even when your wife is not around.
They could even carry the two of you. I have seen that. Yes, I have seen that. A young friend of mine, when the parents had to go to the UK for her elder sister's omugo, both the father and mom went.
That depends on the wife. It also depends on how you treat your wife.
So it has to do with what you're saying.
Yes, if you treat your, be intentional about it at your young age, because whatever you sow, my dear sister, you will reap it.
No, it's not me. We're talking of the men. We're talking of the men.
My men. Whatever you sow at your age, at your young age in marriage, you will definitely reap it. So treat your wife well. Be intentional about it. Don't just push her to the corner. Time is coming where you will need her more than she needs you now. When you treat her rightly, when it's time for her to go for the omugwo, she can tell her daughter or her son, if you are not taking my husband with me, I'm not coming. Depends on how you treat her well now. So if you treat her rightly, she will know, okay, I'm coming for omugwo. I'm spending just 2 weeks. I would have spent 1 month, but because of my husband, I will stay for a short time. But if you know you want me to stay longer, please take me and my husband. That depends.
My issue with this thing is how they resolve conflict.
In the polygamous.
Yes, how they maintain order.
We are going to we'll come back to all this. I just need us to go for a short break because the man in the house is already giggling. I don't know why he's doing that. So
I hope I'm not serving hot today.
You are doing that. He's already giggling and I'm sure it's hitting him. Maybe he has 2 wives. We'll find out when we go for the short break and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Yes, welcome back. You're still on WIC, and I still have Chisom here, the barrister, and I have Princess Edith here. Okay, we were talking about treating your wife rightly so that she would, accept you at old age and always want to be with you at old age. Truly, some men treat their wives poorly when, they are young and, growing up together. And when it's time for the woman to, treat him, nicely, she decides to go stay with the children in the name of, I want to go do omugo. Men, Edith was advising.
It is good measure, according to the Bible, press down, shake it together, that we women will give unto your bosom at old age.
That's serious. That's so serious.
That's how it is. So if you serve your wife good, you take care of her. You take care of her mental health, her physical health. You treat her rightly, make her have a sense of belonging. At old age, she will adore you. She will honor you. In this polygamy we are talking about, the backbones in it, if you go that route, you won't like to talk about polygamy.
Okay, so this brings me to a short story. From this story, we're going to be asking ourselves questions from there. Okay, I once had a guest in my political program who came in and said, we just were talking and he said, I have 4 wives. No, he said, yes, I have 4 wives and 2 on the way coming. So I was like, are you joking? He said, no, I'm serious. That was behind the camera. He said, no, I'm very serious. I was like, seriously? Yes. He said, I'm a Muslim, so I have 4 wives and 2 on the way coming. And he gave me this instance and the stories how these 4 wives came to be. Okay, the first wife had left him because The second wife was the first wife's very good friend, who was always telling the first wife, no, if your husband is not doing this or he's not treating you nicely, if he's not doing this, he's not. And so the first wife got upset and said, you're not treating me nicely, I'm leaving. And this second wife was like, the first wife is a fool. I've been wanting to come in.
Oh my
and
God.
so she came into the marriage. And that led to second, third, fourth, and the fifth and the sixth are on their way. So I asked him a question. I said, do they cooperate? And he said, yes, they do. And he said, these wives are financial gains for him. That's where my question is going to come from. That he invests in them and they triple his investment.
Oh, that's true.
Wow.
Because they are all in a competition. Because he says, when you have tripled maybe the business that he put in your hand, and you begin to tell me, oh, I multiplied it over the years, I got 10 million, I did that, and that. Me wants to, oh no, let me supersede you. So the business he puts in my hand, I try hard to make it work so that I can come and say, oh, my financial gains are more than yours.
Wow.
And then you hear all this from the two of us, I know I must be the best. And you begin to put all effort.
Putting them on
they
pressure.
compete amongst themselves financially, not even wanting to have his love, who loves me, who he will love more or not. They want to supersede each other.
That man must be an Igbo man. Because he's doing his own business.
Okay, so I told him, I said, I want to have 3 of your wives on WIC. He said he will bring them by himself.
I hope to be here.
I said, will they come? He said, yes, they will come, and they will come and tell me all these things that he's telling me. So what's your take in that? Do you think he's greedy, or do you think he married them out of love, or he married them out of come and work for me and make money for me?
Okay, that's why I said, I keep saying it, that it depends on purpose. So these women, they know that, okay, financially, they are also gaining from the man. I'm sure that they are in the business together and all of that. They are building a home together. And they don't have a problem with sharing space with a co-wife where we're talking business. Any money, I'm taking so percent. So polygamy, if you have, a very good reason, it says, okay, financial reason is good enough to take care of your kids, to keep trust funds and all of that for your children. So if you're into polygamy because you want a financial support, you don't just want to lean on one person alone. You want to build a financial empire, a business empire where you can be getting money from different sources. Your woman is handling this, she's the treasurer here, it's a good reason, as much as you can maintain order and there's no drama. Because it's also a very risky thing, because in the area of finance, there's always bound to be issue. How much did you give this one, or how much is this one making, and all of that. So it breeds competition. Just where you're saying these ladies who compete among us, it breeds, and competition now breeds envy. Yes. So the way the thing is going,
which is very dangerous to a family.
Which is very dangerous for a family.
Yeah, it's very, very,
So
very
you
dangerous.
think his idea of polygamy is very dangerous?
You said something, Patricia. You said now he invested in the wives. Now he's reaping it, he's gaining it. I have to ask the tribe where he comes from. Now, anything put in a woman's hand, a woman will always replicate or double or triple it. Anything you give a woman, give it to a woman when it comes to that. Give a woman a very good thing, she will give it to you back. Double it. Give her bad energy, she will give you negative, double, triple. So now, this man married these wives, doing investment with them. They are co-pilots, they are business partner. They are not just in marriage alone. They are business partner. I can relate this to our forefathers that are married for the purpose of farming.
Farming, yeah.
So our forefathers married for the purpose of farming, to have a very large farm. They can have rice farm, yam farm, potato or pepper farm, cassava farm at the same time, granite farm at the same time. And when it's time for harvesting, oh God, you will see their barn, you market every time. The wives will be going to the market while the children are going to the farm, harvesting all the crops. So that man has a reason for going. That is our forefathers now.
Yes.
Have a reason, a very
Going into
cogent
it,
reason
yeah.
for going into polygamy. To have more hands instead of looking for hire to come and, jobs to come and do the farm work. Now this man is replicating what our forefathers did those days.
So but in a more modern
in a modern form. So he's not investing in his wives. I kid you not. This man, as time goes on, the children start growing up, he will start doing safe business with his kids. But on the long run, this man is pressurizing his wife. He's pressurizing these women. And these women are not seeing it because they are beclouded by the competition and the money involved. And women, when it comes to competition, we are not too good in it. We will throw everything to the caution to the wind because we want to outshine the other.
That's the problem. As I said, it breeds envy.
Yeah, it breeds envy, and this is going to affect the children.
Of course,
the children born into that home. This scenario you just painted for us. The children born into that home, this thing is going to affect them negatively or positive. Take it or leave it. In future, this man will see it. Are you getting it?
Are you sure they see it? Because he told me 4, 5 is on the way. The 4th and the 5th.
How
and
many
the
children
6th.
does he have? He wants to invest more. He's a businessman. He's a businessman. He's trading with his wife.
He's not stopping at 4.
No, it's continuous.
No, he said 2 more are coming.
Okay.
2 more are coming.
If we get to a point, let me tell you, Patricia, before you cut me down, before you cut me out, these women, if we get to a tone, they will turn around and start trading with him. I'm telling you.
Trade with him how?
Oh,
if you can explain.
Okay, now he's trading with them. Maybe they've not realized it because they've been clouded by whatever is on the table. They will turn around and begin to use him for business. In the sense that, you see this money he invested in them, this money may not be remitted. We can decide to say, okay, he's our husband after all. Okay, this part of the money, I will invest it on my own. They will invest the money in another business with their name or with their children's name, or not to the man.
Well, it's still in the family. If you ask me, it's still in the family. Okay, so this brings me to a quick question. Having said all of this about polygamy, some girls, especially young girls, are still ready to get into polygamy for the sake of money. Do you think they're doing the right thing?
For the sake of money, like you said, young girls of nowadays, there's a lifestyle, there's a particular lifestyle that every young girl wants to meet up with, the flashy money lifestyle, to maintain the skin, maintain her family or whatever else. So you going into polygamy because of money, it is not advisable. Except if you know the consequences and you're ready to bear the consequence. Because if you're going into it because of money, you're not the only one sharing the money. They have a lot of people that you need to respect. We have co-wives that you will need to, adjust for when it comes to money. You're not the only person. So any lady who is going into polygamy because of money, you need to have it at the back of your mind that it is not just you. Because they will make it feel like it is you because you are new. You're the new wife. So just to make you feel welcomed and all of that, you feel it's just you, but it is not. There are multiple women before you, which you have to pay respect to.
Homage. Homage.
You have to pay respect to. And because of that, they will see anything you do as your attitude is bringing disrespect, or if they get any kind of funny vibe from you, then there's now serious competition already. Because you're young, doesn't mean this is how you'll be behaving and all of that. So it is not advisable for a young girl to go into polygamy because of money. You can go into it because, I want to build a legacy as a woman. I mean, the man has an empire, yes, and you feel like his resources can help you build your children's legacy. Something that if you're no more, your children would definitely have something in place. They will have houses and all of that. But don't just center it on only that factor because of property or financial gain. You have to ready your mind. In fact, prepare to fight different battles.
Okay. Chisom has talked about money in polygamy. I'm going to bring love to you in polygamy. Do you think any woman will get into polygamy because she loves the man? Is it possible for a woman to love a man who already has a wife
Love
but
or-
says, I love this man and, you know, I want to marry him because I love him. Is it possible? If you ask me, let me ask and answer this question. Yes.
Yeah.
You could meet a man that is already married, but you just find yourself loving this man.
course.
And he approaches you to want to marry you. And you decide, okay, because I love him, let me go ahead and
Very
marry
possible. It's very, very possible. It all depends on the lady in question. There are some women that even love, even when they are still young girls, they've not been married. They like their men very old. So when they come, when they find themselves in this situation, I will tell you that this lady may love this man wholeheartedly. Genuinely.
Not because of the
Not
money.
because of the money. Depends on how affectionate the man is and how what the love the man is bringing or proposing to her. Some young or single girls can love a married man genuinely.
Okay, this will bring me
then
to...
some men actually also love single girls, even when they have wife at home. There are some men that go into marriage because they want to have they want to behave and act young. Let me use the case of Okoya, you know, as a case study. You see Okoya other wives, they're old, you know, as it should be, like him. You see, at a point, he went out to get a very beautiful damsel. What's her name again?
Shade.
Shade. And Shade came into the picture. As at then, I was still a young girl that I used to say, what is she looking for? Why will you go and marry such an old man? But the girl was so intentional about it. Okay, now, then Okoya was looking like somebody that wants to soon sleep. This man was soon sleep. But look at him today. He's growing younger, not even older. He's looking very strong. So men will say, okay, they want to go and marry a young girl to refresh their blood.
Oh.
Yes. To renew and refresh their blood. Thereby making them having this young, energized, and having
acting like a younger person.
Like a younger person, then energized and, you know, have this younger look.
And anyway, that brings us to the end of today's program. I hope you ladies enjoyed our program today.
Oh, we do.
Polygamy is very large. You know, it's not a topic we want to end in one day. But I promise my viewers out there, I'm going to bring in these three wives so they come and share to us how they understand polygamy and how they are managing to live in the same home with one man. Thank you so much, Jason, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Patricia. I really appreciate it.
And thank you, Edith.
Thanks for having me. Expect more from WIC.
Exactly. And then when the three women will be here, we're going to be having a round table, probably 6 of us, because Chisom and Edith are, of course, going to be here to ask these women questions, how they are managing their home. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriel. See you same time next week. Bye.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good afternoon and welcome to another exciting edition of Itches and Voices. I'm your host for today, Rebecca Mamedu, and as always, Itches and Voices is brought to you by NABVID, Network for the Advancement of People with Visible Disability. And our sign language interpreter today is Cynthia Godwin Aya, who will be doing justice to our hearing impaired community. So over the years, NABVID has been advocating for the Disability community, and one aspect that you focused on over the years is education. As we all know, education is a leveler for everybody, including persons with disability. And our guest for today is the program officer of NABVID, Mr. Nobu Israel. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much, Becky. I'm glad to be here, and I want to greet every of our listeners at home, and I want to say thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. And so we'll be diving right into the conversation. On the topic of inclusive education, most of the time when we hear inclusive education, I think it's more than just bringing students with disabilities into the classroom. So what would you say inclusive education mean beyond all of that?
Thank you so much. Inclusive education is a concept where every person, whether you are physically challenged, hearing impaired, visually impaired, whatever the form of disability you have, you can learn, all right, in the regular learning environment. That is inclusive education. Currently, what we see most times is what we call special education, where we create special schools, special teachers for special needs children, all right? But in the real sense, inclusive education means that we make education, including learning, curriculum, teaching methods, even down to the environment, okay? Physical infrastructure. We make all of those things in a way where persons with abilities can come in and thrive. They can learn, all right? Looking at their needs, looking at their special condition, they can have that environment where they can learn. And the learning provides for them the need to feel included. All right, not excluded. You know, when you have special education and they are just separate, you know, it makes them feel, oh, we are different, right? So the essence of inclusive education is inclusion, that they are part of us, all right? They are learning from us. We are learning from them, so we are together. So there's no difference, all right? So that's the context, that's what inclusive education is.
So when you talk about them being included, are you trying to say we should include kids with special needs to the regular school, or that is like maybe a special school but they are included in those special schools?
Again, like I earlier mentioned, inclusive education concepts is about learning in the same environment as well as other children without any special learning needs. That is the idea. All right. I think most of the times you go to some tertiary institutions, all right, though we are not there yet, but they practice a form of inclusive education, even though it's not fully inclusive in terms of some of the metrics that define inclusive education. But you see them learning with their other counterparts in the same classroom, all right? So making environments in a way that whether you have physical needs, you can learn in the same environment to someone who does not have any physical needs. That is the idea when we talk about inclusive education. So it is about removing the barriers that stops person with special needs or disability from learning in a regular environment. You remove those barriers. So when you take away those barriers, then you have inclusive education.
Okay, that's powerful. And you made mention of some of the barriers. But before we go into how these barriers can be limited, can you throw a little light into what some of these barriers are that kids or students with special needs encounter in maybe going to school and their education generally?
Okay, the first I want to mention, which I said earlier, is the case of physical barrier. Yes, physical barrier. It's very important, though it may sound, but it's very important. Physical barrier. For example, someone who is on a wheelchair wants to access a classroom, and the classroom is upstairs, and there is no elevator. That already is a limitation, is a challenge. Are you going to keep carrying that child every day on the wheelchair through the staircase? All right, so inclusive education says that that barrier, first of all, must be dealt with. That physical barrier should be dealt with so that the child can have easy access to the classroom without needing extra aid, you know, that makes them feel less of themselves. You know, when you're carrying someone, it demoralizes them. Yes. So that, first of all, needs to be dealt with. Then secondly, we will talk about barrier. We're talking about also the case of learning barrier. For example, the teacher must understand that, oh, if I have a child with special needs in my class, I can't teach every of them in the same pace. So that's where special education training comes in, where the teacher is trained on how to carry each of the children, irrespective of their learning needs or gaps, carry them along to ensure that that gap is bridged. All right, even down to the curriculum adjustments, down to I think there was a particular case where a child, for example, who is autistic, can demand, or his condition demands necessary what we call sensory breaks, because you can't teach a child, for example, for 5 hours straight
and expect an autistic child who is also in that same class to also learn for 5 hours straight. You see, so a teacher who understands that, it's time for this child to have sensory break where his mind can be relaxed to be able to continue learning. So that is very important. So these are some of the barriers we're talking about. Then, of course, issues of policy implementation is also an issue. And, of course, one of the important barriers also is funding, because you can't have inclusive education without proper funding, because you need to upgrade a lot of infrastructure, curriculum review, training, capacity building. So a lot of things are involved. But, like I said, if we are able to remove these barriers, of course, we will have inclusive education.
Yeah, in what you were saying, I think you answered what I was going to ask next about infrastructure, and when you made mention of funding, I think that would help these infrastructures to come in place, because in facilities, schools cannot by themselves put these facilities into place. So, and you made mention of something else that stood out for me about special trainings for teachers, like a child who is autistic. A teacher might not know, a regular teacher, I don't know if that's the right word, you might not know that an autistic child needs a sensory break, you called it. So I want to ask this question. Do you think that teachers are adequately equipped for children with disabilities in our society in Nigeria?
Okay, I will use Edo State as a context. As an organization, NAVID developed in 2022 a document called Distress, that is disability inclusive or disability centered. Yes, disability-centered inclusive education roadmap for Edo State from 2022 to 2032. That's a 10-year roadmap, all right? And one of the gaps that was identified in that research document is the fact that we don't have enough special education teachers, and also those who are currently there needs to undergo regular training, because education is evolving.
True.
There are more technological driven means now of teaching or training a child. So you see that in terms of if they have been trained or is adequate, I will not say, okay, I think from that document, if I'm referring to that document, it is not adequate actually. We even need more education teachers, more special education teachers, all right? Because even those who are there right now are probably understaffed or have not gone through some form of modernized training on inclusive education. For example, that with the advent of technology now, we now have several assistive devices that aids learning in the classroom. But first of all, we're talking about barriers earlier. Do we even have if we have those technologies, do we even have the power to power those infrastructure? Right. Do we have the technical manpower to ensure that the teachers and the students can leverage on those technologies for learning? So it's cross-cutting anyway, but the bottom line is the fact that currently in Edo State we don't have enough sign language not sign language now, we don't have enough special teachers, yes, for the special schools that we currently have in Edo State. We don't have enough. We need more special teachers, and at the same time to call for more training for them, because we don't want a case where persons with disabilities who are in need of their services are kept behind. And also even think that special education should even be something that every teacher should go through basic learning, basic training for. Yes. Because like you mentioned, if you are not exposed to special education, you may feel, they are special. That's why if you see the word when we're talking about inclusive education, is like it's a separate thing. It's supposed to be all encompassing. It's supposed to be infused into the educational system of the society or of Edo State, where the teacher does not see special education as it's for persons with disabilities.
Yes, and
all right. So we are not for persons with disabilities, and then you see a parent take a child to a school and the child is rejected, which also now creates another barrier, which is the social stigma. And say, no, your child cannot learn in my class because your child has a disability. Because the teacher actually feels helpless. It's not her fault, because she doesn't know how to manage or handle that child. So it's important that we look at our educational framework and beginning to make special education or inclusive education the focus. Every teacher should go or undergo a basic course on special education on inclusive education, so that when you eventually have a child who's autistic, or a child who have Down syndrome, or a child who has physical disability or hearing impaired, you know how to manage them, how to handle them. That is the focus of inclusive education, where we remove is about removing barriers, social barrier, physical barrier, whatever form of barrier that limits learning of a child with disability. That is the goal.
I was, immediately when you said it, I had to concur, because that was exactly what was in my mind. How it would be very important if you can integrate special education into the regular education in university. It can be a course, maybe a particular year, you do research on it and learn more. I think it can help cover the gap that we have currently in special schools, especially for the teacher. So can you throw more light into, I think you called it distress research. Was it a research that NAVID conducted? Can you tell us more about that?
All right. I think in 2022, NAVID, in partnership with the Edo State's Ministry of Education, and of course the Edo State SUBEB, we were able to conduct that research. It was a research, and the research was majorly identifying gaps currently in Edo State's special education sector, and at the same time proposing a roadmap. A roadmap is like a strategy to achieve inclusion in the next 10 years. All right, and like I mentioned, that document is very handy, and I believe that I want to see the opportunity to also call again on the Ministry of Education and of course the SUBEB, Edo State SUBEB, so that they can look again at that document, because for me, I feel special education in Edo State is almost like as a standstill. Nothing much is happening in that regard, in that sector. There's no new investment in that regard. There's no new support going in that direction, and we believe that through that document, it can provide that needed support to call for partners, how they can advance special and inclusive education in Edo State. So what we are looking at is the fact that that document in itself is a working document. It is still operational, at least from 2022, like I mentioned, till 2032. All right, so, and if you look at that document, it went as far as speaking to physical infrastructure, it went as far as speaking to capacity building for teachers, even down to curriculum review, talking about funding and all of that. I know some time back there used to be disability special education desk at the Ministry of Education. I don't know if that is still existing right now. I'm not sure there's any department for it. All right, but it is like I'm using this opportunity as an avenue to call for the Edo State government, especially through the state's Universal Education Board, SUBEB, so that they can begin to look at special education as a critical component of learning. Also, we also look at in that document that we also identified that one of the gaps we also saw is that most of the special schools that are in existence right now are concentrated in the urban centers. All right, so those who are coming from some interiors or part of the state cannot access special education. We're not talking about inclusive education now, but you see that we have more schools compared to special schools. So if we now say the goal is to achieve inclusive education, it means the focus will now be transforming those regular schools to be more accommodative. Accommodating for special needs children, so that we will not be looking at building more special schools. We'll be thinking of upgrading the current existing schools to fit in, to accommodate special needs children. You see the logic. So I find that that's what the document was actually proposing in the long-term period of the 10 years. So that's what the document is about. It's about calling on stakeholders, especially the Edo State government, to the Ministry of Education, and of course the state's Universal Basic Education Board, to look at special education as a critical sector. Like you mentioned earlier in your introductory speech, you said that special education is a leveler. Education itself is a leveler for persons with disabilities, because on a normal day, persons with disabilities go through challenges, learning, mobility, even not economic, a lot of things. But if you want to empower them, is according to, if I'm quoting Melody Omosana, that's the director of NAVID, he will always use a word that for persons with disabilities, education is a leveler, and at the same time, education for persons with disabilities is giving them the empowerment, the capacity to contribute to the proverbial national cake than just be spectators or giving them handouts. So we are now going to be moving from not just say, we are just going to be handing out what we feel is good for them, but giving that opportunity to try, that to grow, to contribute, because they've been exposed to learning So, but they are visually impaired. How can they see? They have assistive devices that enables them to learn. How can they move to and fro? Don't worry about that. Just provide the environment. You understand? Yes. They are not helpless. Persons with this are not helpless. They have capacity. They have capacities in them. They have mental capacity. Even someone who may have what's it called, mental or intellectual disability, have some level of capacity to learn. Yeah. So, but all we need to do is to provide the environment for them, for where they can learn and grow, be inspired to achieve that innate capacity God has put in them.
Yes, I think in a closed word, it's just saying that we should move beyond charity. Because a lot of times, most people want to reduce persons with disabilities to just giving alms, charity, and looking like they cannot by themselves be a part of society and give to society. I want to take you back to something you said. You made mention of the curriculum being a part of the distress document. Can you throw more light? Are you saying that it should be like a different curriculum for special schools, for students with disability, like completely different from other students?
Okay, I will not say that. If we are saying that, it means we are taking ourselves back again to special education and separating ourselves from inclusive education, which is the focus. Yes. All right. Inclusive education is a miss, where when you are designing curriculum, you factor in the learning pace, the learning needs of special children. What I mean children with disabilities. All right, you factor it in. The same way to also mention the fact that even the training of teachers, there should be a component for inclusive education, so that same curriculum that is to train teachers on a regular basis, there is a component for inclusive education in it, where they are learning to. So we are going to be passing this knowledge to. So how do we teach? Are we going to just rush the whole lesson because we want to meet up with time, or we are going to be mindful that there's someone who probably is a slow learner? And funny enough, do you know that when we were even in school, when I was in school, there are some of us in class who have slow learning capacity. Yes. I remember there was a time when I was in school, I don't want to mention the name of the school right now, but when I was in school, in secondary school, we were learning mathematics one day, and our teacher was teaching. And someone said, "Auntie, I'm not getting what you are saying." Teacher said, "When you fail, you will get it." No, you can imagine that kind of statement. Yeah. When you fail, you will get it. So, but that's not all to know. If the teacher understand the concept of inclusive education, we say that we are not all at the same learning pace.
Yes, that's true.
So right now, if you don't catch up, you fall behind. It should not be that way. Inclusive education says that no one should be left behind, gaps should be covered, and no one should be excluded in any way, in any form. So you provide for the one who is a fast learner, you also provide for the one who is a slow learner, so that they can all flow at the same level. So that is the idea. So when we say curriculum revision, is the fact that whatever curriculum we are designing should be in a way that it can serve both persons with disabilities and, of course, those without learning or whatever form of disabilities. Yeah. That is the idea.
And from the story you mentioned, I think one disadvantage of disabilities that are not visible is that most of the time we do not actually know that there is a problem here. And I think a lot of there might be some students that have maybe mental or intellectual disability, and they might not just catch up as fast as other students. And at the end of the day, they might push them aside that school is not for them.
Thank you.
That's the word. School is not for you. So go learn a trade, go learn a business, removing the fact that education plays an important role in the life of everybody. And I think this is where assistive devices come in. Can you help us throw a little light into that? Because what are the assistive devices that is needed or that is being used in schools by students with disabilities?
All right, I'll give a story. There was a time we went for a program, myself and my executive director, to Abuja. On our way back, we had a judge with us who was flying back with us from Abuja to Benin. And then she saw Barrister Mele Damosa just operating his phone unaided. And she was like, "How are you operating this phone without any aid?" It was surprising. And then he told her, "Of course I can operate my phone with the aid of technology. There's a voice app called Siri that was in that phone that was describing everything he was doing on the phone." Now, for learning, for visually impaired, they use braille machines, where they can read dotted lines on a paper and can read as fluent as you who is reading and looking at the paper or the text that have been typed on the paper. They can read as fluent. So if you want to give them a chance at learning, it means that braille is a very vital component for visually impaired learners. Then talking about those who are hearing impaired. Why do we have a sign language interpreter right now in the studio? It's because at the time we saw that this program was not benefiting those with hearing impairment because we are communicating, yes, but they are not following. They are not understanding what we are saying because they can't hear us. So with the sign language interpreter, she can communicate what we are saying right now to them. So it means in a school where you have inclusive education, one of the major components they will have is sign language interpreters right there in the school. So that when someone with hearing impairment comes to your school, you will not drive them and say, we don't admit you because how are you going to be hearing what we are saying? Because you have a sign language interpreter provided in the school, maybe as a staff, you find that child is already accommodated in that school. Then talking about other learning devices, we have recorders, we have tape recorders, we have braille laptops. Right? So there are a lot of devices right now that is, thank God with the help of AI tools also, these things are evolving, all right, that helps them learn. One of these I want to say, there was a particular time, I think it was a particular movie I watched that really changed my mindset about inclusive education, about a child. I think the name of the movie should be like Stars on Earth. Maybe I think I'm very familiar with that movie because of the fact that at a point the child was relegated. The child was seen as unserious, but a special teacher who had undergone the same situation of that child was able to accommodate the child and brought the genius in the child. So that's about inclusive education. It means giving every child a chance to thrive, to learn, to grow, to become themselves who God has made them to be, irrespective of their disability.
Wow, see the way I was smiling. All of this is just amazing. And actually, I think they are more like maybe hearing aids for persons with hearing impairment. I feel like technology has brought a lot of things that it is not even proper to say that a child should be denied the access to education because there is technology, there are innovations, people are doing research every single day to better make all of this, better make education more accessible. Oh my goodness, it has been an amazing time in the studio and I wish we could go on and on and on. So very quickly, if there is something, what is one word or one message you would like to leave with teachers, parents, advocates, or our audience that have been following this conversation all through since we started right now? Like, what's a word or a statement that you'd want to leave with them?
All right, for the government, I want to say this, that inclusive education should be the goal, not just to have something by the side called special education. Inclusive education should be the goal, is what is practiced everywhere in the world. Then secondly, to our teachers, please be more accommodative. Every child does not have the same learning speed, the same learning capacity. Be patient with the one who is a fast learner, at the same time, the same way you also accommodate those who are slow learners. Then also to our parents, please, your child with disabilities is not incapacitated. All it needs is the right environment that will make him stay motivated to keep learning, to keep thriving, to not feel useless about himself. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Isdro. It has been a very exciting session in the studio today. And I think we've learned a lot about from assistive technology to inclusiveness and how, at the end of the day, it is not so difficult. The world is changing, the world is moving, and education being a leveler is what should be provided to every child, disability or not. And this is not the age where we keep a child with disability inside the house just because, okay, he shouldn't go to school. What would he amount to or thereabouts? Times have changed and things have been made available. And I would like to say, if you have a child with disability, NAVID's office is at 34 Arosa Street off Sampomba Road. In case you want to visit us, you have any question to ask, we are always available to talk to you or to advise you on what you should or can do. Thank you very much for joining us today. And remember, spot a itch and be a voice. Thank you.
ITV, certainly the best.
Wow, wá kẹ́mẹ́rin láti owó àwọn káyán rẹ̀.
ITV, certainly the best.
Welcome to the program Youth Perspective on Independent Television. I'm your host, Joy Obaisiagbon, and you know how we do it here. We talk about societal matters from the youth perspective. Today is no different. Today we're looking at love and dating in the modern era. Actually, submission and obedience. Is it the same thing or is it not? So today I'll be having this conversation with my guest, David Isene. Thank you very much, David, for joining me today.
Thank you very much for inviting Joy. It's lovely to be here with you.
I look forward to having a very wonderful conversation with you.
It's a very interesting topic.
You look like you have a lot to say.
Let's see.
Okay, all right, let's get right into the conversation. So for you, David, obedience and submission, do you think it's the same thing? For this our generation now, you know, talking about dating and, you know, love in this era.
Well, I would be a liar if I say that there is no no difference between what we used to know or what our parents knew and what we face now. Obviously, there is a big difference in the fact that we even have to speak about it in a show is a proof that there is a difference.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Because I don't think it was a topic before, you know, in the time of our parents. I don't think they sat down to, you know, have this kind of conversations. I know it tells that certain things have, you know, changed over time, or certain things have been revolted against, you know, as against the way it used to be. So personally, for the question, I think that there is a difference from what used to be and what is now.
Okay, for you, what is submission? What does submission mean to you?
For me, well, I would say, first of all, if I'm going to speak from the normal English explanation of submission.
Of course, English.
it's like delegating your authority to someone else.
Okay.
like we need to first emphasize the fact that probably the person has a certain authority, but chooses not. It's a matter of choice. Chooses not to use that authority or chooses not to wield the authority and gives it to someone, to wield the authority over the person. Naturally, we would say that every man that is born has a certain freedom, especially matters of choice and decision making. Your ability to not use those decisions and someone else is using it over you is actually submitting to another person's authority. So we can say submission is a matter of bending for someone else to speak over and then you follow. So it's like giving yourself over to leadership of another person.
So relating that to today's dating, the modern, this era of dating and love, can you, relating it to that, do you think it actually influences, does it contradict to your own definition of submission, like having to give up authority? Do you think that this generation, we can actually do that?
Well, I believe that this generation, we are capable of many things.
Okay.
We are capable of doing it and capable of not doing it. Like we already established, every man is given a freedom of choice at the beginning. Personally, if it's on my own personal note or account of my own beliefs, the way we were raised and or we don't even talk about matters of submission as regards things like relationship or dating. We talk about it in matters of marriage. The way we were raised. We speak about, because now, first of all, my faith speaks about wives submitting to their husbands, not wives or women submitting to men. It says their husband. It means if the title husband is not there, we shouldn't even be talking about the matter of submission. Now, basically, from the whole standpoint and view of the way things were before our time or the way we were raised, the male figure, because when we're speaking about relationship, obviously it's between man and woman, so the male figure has a role. Every gender or every part of a relationship between the two of them have a role, characteristics or obligations in certain homes. And one of the most paramount obligation of a male gender in a marriage is to lead.
Okay, to lead.
Yes, to lead. And we were raised and we have seen over time that many a times how the man chooses to lead the home determines where the home goes to. So if you are not in that journey of marriage with someone that knows where he's going to, you are definitely going to crash. It's just an accident waiting to happen, basically. So we know that the job of the man, according to the way we were raised, is leadership. So therefore, when he's married to a woman, the beliefs and the teachings say that the lady should allow him lead. You understand? To allow him to lead. And in so doing that, it means submitting her own authority to him to lead.
Okay, you mentioned that the paramount objective of the male gender, or rather the male character in a marriage, let's not use relationship because it has not been established that they are actually legal. So in a marriage setting, if the man's objective is to lead, according to what you said, do you think it actually affects how he regards the woman, how he respects her, or something like that?
Well, it shouldn't really affect. Now, if we are still going to follow the standpoint of where we were raised, the option is, the instruction rather, or the model is, husbands, love your wives. And that love there stands for sacrifice, basically. In fact, according to the standpoint of the belief or the model given to us, the job of the man is even more than that of the woman, according to the proper model Now, it's when you just look at things, and because of the way things have been over the years, because we found out that people, they, permit me to say, people, they actually, they spoil them.
Okay.
People, I was raised in somewhere in the South, where the relationship between husband and wife is quite infuriating.
Okay. How do you mean?
Okay, I was raised, like I said, somewhere in the South, I won't call the place, but being in that environment, I saw certain things, and I will give a graphic description of it. So the way I will say is that some people that are from that place, you understand that it's the place I'm talking about. You see that in the morning like this, maybe early in the morning, you see that the woman, gets up, takes care of the children, and by children I mean one in the hand, one on the back. Okay, so she takes care of the children, puts one in hand, puts one in back, takes the one in hand to school. Then as she's packaging them, she's taking care of her husband, and then she picks up what we call head pan. Now head pan is what we used to carry cement, for building sites. So she picks up a head pan, holds it on one hand, holds one child on one hand, puts one on the back, and then sets out for the daily bread.
Crazy.
Now she gets to the site, she walks, puts cement, they mold for her, put it upon her head, she puts it.
So what is the man in all of these?
We will get to the man, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay. Then puts the child on the back, on maybe the granites, just seated there, watching the mom hustle.
Yeah.
And when she's done, she makes certain, changes that they make, this daily work. So she makes changes, they put the child back on the back, picks the headpan, goes back home. On her way home, she goes to the market, use that money she just made to purchase things for the house, especially when the child is going to school the next day, goes home, meets because this is where the man is now, meets the man or the husband exactly where she left him. And where is that? In the site in front of his house, or in a bar close to the house with his friends, drinking, alcohol, or what we call it kind. So drinking, smoking, and fraternizing with smaller girls in the area. And then when she comes, she submits the money.
Submit the money.
You get it now. The remaining part of the change that she has made after the work, the market and all, and then she gives it to this man, and then in turn he uses the money to continue the same circle the next day. And then you call that also called submission. You see, these were the things that
is not submission.
That you get it now. So they term it as submission. So in that kind of place, if the woman wants to revolt or something, you hear things like, "I'm not now. He's your husband." You are supposed to. You see, these were the things that our timeline, our generation saw and said, this can't be it. This is not even the standard. This is not the model. This is not the original model that was given to us. We know that in the original model that was given to us, the man is the one that is most sacrificial to the woman. In fact, his love language is sacrifice. Her love language in turn to respond to sacrifice is submission. That means, because a man that, truthfully speaking, can die for you is worthy of your authority.
Okay.
And that's just the way it
the submission actually
is worthy of it. I don't think submission in regard, in fact, in the matters of marriage, when we talk about submission, I'm talking about things like carrying him along in decisions, making decisions, making him a primary part of your life in decision making, making him a primary, especially in decision making, in how things are run, how you run things through him. And these are things that even he in turn does with his wife, if indeed it's a home that wants to last, and function properly. So if he can sacrifice or love his wife according to the model, submission is the response to love according to the model.
Okay, I'm thinking about that model actually. Do you think it's irrelevant today?
No, I don't think it's irrelevant.
Let's talk about that. Okay, why do you think so?
Well, I believe in things that work, and over the years we have seen it work.
But you've never been married, have you?
No, I have parents that stay together till now.
Okay.
And I
Well,
saw
I'm
it
talking
work.
about this our generation with the look of things right now.
I think one of the problems with our generation is that we are influenced by so many voices. So many voices. Everything is teaching us. Twitter is teaching, or X rather is teaching. Instagram is teaching. TikTok is talking. There are so many. In fact, I'll give you a classical example of something that used to happen, especially amongst the female gender. A lady just wakes up, comes to her ex account and says, "Trust men at your own risk." Meanwhile, she's typing that in from her husband's house.
So many voices.
The same person that is telling you, I can never. The next day you see her throwing flower or throwing bouquet.
Yeah.
It's her wedding day. You know what happens to the younger persons that get to see those kind of content, and because those things, whether you like it or not, your eyes and your ears are the gateways to. They are your learning gateways. So basically, you hear those things and it registers in the heart of someone, and then it becomes a school, a teaching for that person over time. So much so that we begin to focus on the failing ones. If you check in our time, we always seem to put much regard to those that are failing and don't spend time checking those that are actually succeeding. We have people, fathers that are 50 years in marriage, 60 years in marriage. They are still alive. You didn't check their own model to see how it works. You went to look at a celebrity somewhere that just had like 3 years in marriage and said, men are wicked.
But why do you actually think that is? Nowadays marriages doesn't last as long as it actually does in the time past.
One thing you need to understand is that I got to learn over time that marriage is the strongest unit. The family is the strongest unit of any succeeding society. Every nation or society that would be that will shake, or that will make wave, that will be successful, it starts from the unit of the home, the family. That unit of the family. Once it can be crumbled, the society is at risk. In fact, check it, most of the people that are probably nuisances in the society, we can always do a backlog to check the home that they are coming from. It's always like that. And I would say that it is to that reason why that most people need to focus more on making their homes and marriages work. Knowing fully well that as small or as minute as it looks, it is something that is actually very tangible. First of all, for example, practical examples. Each and every one of us grew up from home, right?
Yeah.
A child learns his first words from home. You hear dada, mama. It's first word. It learns it from home, not from the street, not from school. I personally, when I began to start my education, I was already speaking according to my parents. I was speaking, well for a 2-year-old. I was speaking well, and so when it was time to begin, my education, I didn't need to go through the normal rigors of probably going to crèche and play, and do those kind of stuff. I just started straight from the classes that do writing. Where did I learn it from? From the home. I didn't learn it from any forward corner of any school. From the home. That's how intentional. That's how important the home is to a child. The things, I was raised in a place that is very rough, somewhere in the south, very rough. But I was not, I didn't look like the environment. I didn't look like the environment not because I was not in the environment, but because I was in a safe haven, my home.
Yeah, because of your own unit.
The unit. So no matter how chaotic the environment was, and I mean
the shield.
Chaotic the environment
Yeah.
Was, every day is a risk in that environment. No matter how chaotic it was, those garbage end outside. They don't come in because the home, my family had found a way to shield us, the children, from the noise of outside. When you raise a child like that in an environment, we will not be afraid, to commit responsibilities into the hand of that child. Be afraid that he's going to, throw it away or make a mess of it. That's how important the home is. This is the thing that is actually at stake. is what is at stake. And well, I wouldn't want to put in, you know, the spiritual aspect and all those things into it, but that is how important the unit called family
actually
is in society.
You know, we well established the fact that, you know, all these things that we see around actually influences you know, some of the decisions, talking about having to have so many divorces around nowadays and all of that. You know, we've seen that it's, you know, it's safe to say that it's kind of difficult right nowadays for, you know, Gen Z to submit. You know, probably because, like we said, the environment and all of that, what you see, you give an example of, you know, the woman having to go work and then bringing a proceed to the husband and all of that. So if you are to know someone navigating this path right now, having difficulty submitting in their relationship, marriage, Gen Zs, because of, you know, the environment, influence and all of that, we're choosing, you said many voices. A lot of persons, they chose to listen to, you know, the wrong voices. And those people that are victims of that, now they are having difficulty having to submit to, like you said, the actual model. You know, how do you think people like that can navigate that part? I will actually be throwing this question, we'll be taking these questions to the street as well, to hear from our viewers, to hear from other persons, and then we'll bring it here and put them together. But before we leave, I'd like you to answer on that. How do you think they can?
Well, I would first of all say that being submissive in a relationship or being obedient, you know, because now we're speaking about, basically, if we're speaking about submission, we're basically speaking about the female gender.
Okay.
Now, being specific in submissive rather in a relationship does not really stop a successful home building. Neither does it crash, you know, a home that is supposed to actually survive or work fine. I would say that the word submission in itself does not make you a fool, because that is what it's kind of mirrored in our time. That once people hear the word submission, they just say, "I'll not be mumu." I don't know if you get my point. You know, that kind of like, "I'll not be mumu, man, not use my head," and all. I think we should not also be speaking. First of all, I don't think you should be in a marriage with someone you don't trust. I also don't think we should be talking submission if trust is not on the table, basically, because and this is why how you enter also matters a lot. Many a time we see in our generation that the things that both parties, now both genders, look out for in a relationship or in, you know, the marriage that they want to enter is very flawed.
Yeah, so if we're understanding you very correctly, you know, despite the fact that there are very sad stories out there, you know, you have to look for the boxes that were not ticked before, those boxes that were not ticked before that person actually made that decision. Why they ended up like that, why the story ended up being, you know, not good.
So you check it.
So that you can checkmate that on your own. And then when you get into it, you don't really have to not have so many problems about having to submit, you know,
having to love
the
your
original model.
Original model. Emphasis on original model.
All right. Right now, we're going to call it a break, and then we'll take this question to the street. The question is going to be shown on the screen right now. We'll take it to the street, and then we'll get answers. The question actually is, why do you think it is difficult for this generation to want to submit in relationship? Yes, and despite the fact that we know that, it's obviously very difficult. So what solution can you prefer to a person that is in that situation right now, having difficulty, you know, submitting to their partner?
Some people see submission as a GBV issue, because they see it as somebody is trying to compare them against their wish. Somebody is trying to, you know, make them lose their freedom, not knowing that that is not what submission is. That is why it is very important we redefine what submission is. Submission is partnering with each other. Submission is, you know, one person, you know, you have to support that for the other person's opinion, you know, for you people for the marriage or for the relationship to go well.
gender?
Yes, I want the advice I'll give to them is that they should go to the drawing board. They should go and know the real meaning of submission.
But women of these days are more educated, they are more aware, and so they're understanding of submission has evolved. A woman can speak her opinion, can express her disagreement with a thing, so while still being submissive. What is really happening is awareness. People are not living relationships or marriages or finding it hard to submit. Rather, they are saying no to the submission that resists them, that limits them, and issues their voices. So it's just about working together. No party is greater than the other. There is no dominant, there is no submissive. You guys are both dominant and submissive. You guys can both lead and can still both be submissive. So that notion that submission is about control, it's about like one party taking control of the other, that should die. Submission can work hand in hand when a couple comes together and agree.
Gen Z nowadays, they live their life on social media. Everything is about social media, and comparison is the thief of joy. So they tend to compare what they see online, how people live their life online, how celebrities, public figure do everything online. So they compare it with themselves. So that's the main reason they can never be submissive, because they feel like the new cool is being all these feminism, all these equality. So submission is not the new cool, so they won't follow it. My advice will be, don't compare. Focus on your own marriage. Focus on, no marriage is perfect, so just work on getting better. That's the only way.
It's definitely hard for them because this is a fast-paced generation. Only a few still have like the old morals, because now it's just like, well, if some even feel they don't even need to be in a marriage or a relationship, because it has to do with the fact that this generation has made the most money. I mean, just look at what these people are doing, streaming, all this stuff. So when there's money, people tend to feel like they don't need anybody. So I say it's definitely hard. So it's just the way the world evolves, the way these things get more difficult. So, and it's really, we're losing the morals on everything, and it's hard, but at the end of the day, all I can say is if they could just sit down and see, okay, my parents didn't come from this, and just try to emulate their parents, and I feel we'll all be all right.
All right, those are the amazing opinions from our guests out there. Hope you have been able to learn a thing or two. Yes, and that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you very much, David, for joining me today.
Thank you very much for inviting. It was an exciting discussion.
All right, until next week, I am your host, Joy Obaisiagbo. Bye for now.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves after each day of farming. It is also relevant in our coronation in Africa. It is a sport and indeed very interesting, as every seed had a role in the game. Playtime is 45 minutes per set. There is no age limit as long as you can spin aqua seed. Ayo or aqua game, known as the game of intellectual. This game requires a lot of mathematical skills. Aqua game is played with carved wooden box containing 12 holes.
ITV, certainly the best.
Ugi bota we se eniwan ibota we de na owe sike gbere ma eta gbera uzala no gbera mara gwa ka igegbe owe de na ni wan ama ama ìyàwó ni we tawe bo ama oni ama demino ama wa ya ma ka we do di yobo na ma je no wa ra otagbon ya fe we ama na ya yuwe wa egbe we ama na ya ye wa da man we ve enwe na gwi de nu ya ye o oni ma agwa kana ni wa no bu egwa ye na ama na oni ma teme ge Victor ibizugbe obokan
baba owese numu yotona ama emi no kwa wa no yewe ni ma wa re owede no wero wa yobo no we ikiyowa so pa age afefa ye keku wa gba lo ma mi hu do ni ama emi no kaka bo wa ma no keke ni mu adobo mu se na ye eru owo keke na awon no ekunu vin na gbe okeke no na me na gbe okeke no ekunu vin na re kai no ma won ni èmi náà wúyẹ ọjí gbàgbé ọba àtọpẹ iṣẹ àwọn màmá àgbà kan ni wọn mẹ ó sọ àwọn bọ́sẹ̀ ẹni jẹ́ inú wíyẹ ò náà rí ẹ̀dọ́ bá yọ̀ọ́ká ọ̀rẹ́dọ̀ yàfẹ́ nàbẹ́ ọ̀ká gbọ́ ilé ò yàfẹ́ ijó tó wà yàfẹ́ ó sọ àwọn bọ́lá di màrà àmà nà má nà sàlóbọ̀ yá yí mà àmà nà má nà kẹ̀kẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́rí mà lónìí màá gbà ká ẹ̀gbẹ́ wúzà ọ̀nà gbéra ama oke ya iyi we no salo boayi ile gboran ama no ama oke ya emi na emi le bote mark ama na fi ya oro awo na ya ran ama na fi ye gbero awo na ya ran epo maku ama no na ya ri bayi olode ama no na ya dolukpon ama na regbopa ama
ekene tenari amano owe terari ayobalo amani arewa wenonye tenihi erina fi wena na yebere na amuse no ya mesa mi obalo amani we yaka aboye we ekenu fia we ona yekere we do kien no nwa na oyebere amano ama okira emi okira emi okira yi okira uyi okira ilele okira no salo kwa uvie no salo kwa yi ni man ma lele we mi ama dama ni mame manedo ya maya ye gbekia ni maya we ni mi na dunuro ni ma amaro eso ama soro ni mamu fo na newe emi ma idona amani okeye mi no ni mahoni ma begi dama nu we mi nu we yakia na mi enwe na ya enwe amano ya se gbe ebe ina ni mami owebe na te certificate owebe ni we yo ona ene we ye kenu ti ese ebe enuri la diawo na te certificate ni amano we amanu ya nu ya yo webe na onu we ri la dia ai wa yo webe iwa ye university iwa yo na gebe ni la diawo amano we dama ni mame manedo na ya dolo eyi na ya dolo egbe yi na ya dolo eyi na awe mi no ma keregbe kere mo ni ma bie wa gu iwe gwa he de mi nu ya gu egwa na wa awa no regbe awa no rebo na wa ai go ko lori ewu wa awa no otedo awe na seyo na ye gbo wa ọmọ no gbo wa ta be gbe wa ama emi na oyewo salobo ama bo ni wa beni maya imanedo imase ti ya le lori ma e ma wo teme e ma gwa kana ama o teme gbegbe bu wede ko ama makana
mami o te ma re no ri agwa re ogbon mo kan si won pala wa ma wo na ya yen wa hanu we bie we na dolo bie ewe hin ama na ama bun we nu ka ilu kan ba amare gbo managbo amare upo amare isinwina wa kan awupo ni wa mi keni na vina amale loto agbena awona che zebra cross amani rie ma we ni moto mu e no kan ahenehene huda ibi kara le ma gbera amaro wa mi we eri seza ni wulo we oku na ya aye yare anado maye ogbelegare King Square wedo wana ni ko ga igba aya gbo koto wani aya gbo kiyan de ya iniyan uga we go pono ri esopon ana maye ba la so na ya yere no gbina no kwa bege no gbera uga we pania una we se da papa ba wa emi ebo kini no we gbinu una we ga die upono ri upisi loko na opon ba market wa we mi ave maye ba okwo ba na tie emota bo ya ga re ba he amani ya yere emi no suru ege ni na gudu mu iye wa ni de ga ma ere ni ayere ave gbe ye ere imoto we na ahia ewen ilaba ni ama na ya hon ewe ogwe no eni we na gbe na we ni ama na ya hon we yo mugan eni ri uga wa do ge emi bun na mana no waye o ma na wo bo we tin ewe kin ave odugbo ato le odugbo wa ri oba fi wa le kin o le pale ran o ya ma yo no ya hon de no lara kin no we hon de no kin alabri gbe ya de ama ni gi ode ma amaro imoto na lo baligi ina ti speedometer no ruwe ni ora le kian ura bere amani wa ge ora ise 80 say 100 owo le no kwa ye na uri owo ehin totore uri eye braking usi escoto amani o ma we de ga amani ro we awa le kian we ekene we ye ama o wa be bun wa we mi we ura ri ona me we uri ezenia we aloke yin na amani se ma we ne we opin zari na ohanhu dato the road safety dey mama dey do there wa kan keni igogo ye
ye mweyo ye mwe uvieni obigo awe igogore ma usi irin west koto no ya ihulela ha o ga se ke no ana mudia awe mame mi so be ro amame mi gbode na te bumper na speed breaker o ga se wa amani ri ma wewe nu ga rulegbe we se koto we ko lagbe ya hu do ni imura na maye we dagbe ma na gbon ate ti ta e ma ne ma na gbon na ma awe mu amaye gbe na ya yawo ma na ma ni kin na ya otu no kere na ya egbe no kere na ya ebo no kere wa re so ni an iyan wa hiye tapa yiro avie ha gbe otu to avie ha nya odun wa en we oteyo ba wa na kere wa mi o so okunu avan amama kwe wa en we igaba yi na kin wa mi eso avie gbe tun wa en we wi obo e na wa kin wa mi eso ayama won egbe sako o ma na kere hu do ni ama ogun ga no ama ni o ma wode o we ta ma won no keke nu ari wu o we ma won emi no gbera na ya ye ere kakabo igi ogbe ama no hu ano wada ma mu igi ogbe ni fuwa igi ogbe so ikini rado awe ke ni ikini no zo pa ni igi ogbo ga we ma bi na no oba atope ise ama ma gwa kana ni wa ma la su le gbe no ama we doro ni matala nya wu ni ma wa ama no ni do wa ni gbe wa ro egbe so ro yan ri eru ama no awa o awe ona rio ame o metire eso ro owo boy ama wo boy ebu awewe ohun awa nweko owe ko wa lo yen amare ne na vie gbopa emi wa bun no ama nu we to bu we no da ho me na emi nu ma gwe orin oro ama no agwai ye ama video ama okira emi no rie ijodu no ma okira emi no rie enwa no ma okira emi no rie eti no ma okira emi no rie ijobo yan wa gbere ye ama gbe ote ta ba ama awe ema wa gbe na ode ni ejo igbuna ni latamu we ni orio ijodu we na ama no oni ebo ete information ama no uyi ogebo ne yate Nigeria constitution ama no uyi ogedo na waredo ama no we ma wa redo we ma wa no ba we ma wa neje we ma wa woto awo na wa woto ama no ona wa woto wa ya zo ama no ina rewo ebode ni asome awi gbaron oro arovia oro arohion oro eze na yakina ni ana ya ruwa no ya dole mi yi ko to ade ama eyin no ni wa ni we ni nya ama ma kwa kana ama no si ko we uyore wo na yi we uwa ya ra wa rara mu ewo o mi no ki de obo we wa be ki ire obo da uki no ye bo gbonle ma ama no ama da ewe me ni ama na we asin o ro awe ewe wa lo mo gbe o te ra digbe o wa ru fun yo we o wa fo ama no ama ni wa o keke ni maka bo ge sesere ama wuwo wa ma ro uyin we yi ni mo ke ba me anara ai ama ni hi we ma kere na ma we gbe we na we na ta ni na we gbe we awa no ama no da ma no we gbe ne na fi no yo pa mai kana da ma no we wa da ma no mo lowo ne wa ave mina ge o to se ge o awe ya wa la wa ne bi awon na yan se ti we amani o de fiora na ya fe ma ge we amani ma me gbe ke o re ru ke ya fe mari ka bo ge sense we di ma ge ama na ya we ni singu na ye ma omo hi ni ma na lele ma na ya nwina ori opara ri ogbo yiwo o mwe machine ni mwe yo se ona mwe obo na ege no ria ama na yi yoto oria ni onwani ka o na si ama oke ayi owe gbe owe wo ogo saloboa ama we no ya lu ka na ya ye yen o emi na we gbon yoto we na gbon yoto abidi kere abc ama ya ni wa ona ya yuhi ma ye ta be ma ka 1000 no gboda ne dollar wo ne gwala wo na ama we do na ya ri ni ma wa we do na ya ru ni ma gbon yoto ma mi kena me ilele ma 1000 no gboda ana we ipe di yan ayawo yin re do ori yi ama gedegbe no so pa na mana gbe yoto e mo hin oro dopa e wa do wa ni wo la ni wa emi lo mi no wa mu yoto owe asona pa e wa ko ni yi asona pa e wa ko ni ri no te keke no ipe di yan ama ni o hin ni so pa emi na mani do akini e wu egbe ba iro ya gbera ne ku we ni no mu iro no ya e ke ya fe we ebode na duza no uda uhina yi na rai o ama no ma ki no ma ke no
hin ko
egere gba ne
ma me owu na ga die bo da ma na ya we ta kan isebo udo mi ko na ma ye o ni ka hu ni o we aibu e wo ni owo ara lo kereze aweze giri we ama no ye mani ni wa hin ati ebi na ati ama no kwa wa no we edokin amuna ana mewe na te atawi ona laja gbodo we wete de ye gbo edom hiani orie ma we ne mataredo owo ven ko we ba le gbe o ven na ko we wa san o ra ama we ame o ga ya hunu e wa wuta na ama no kwa orie ma wa ni avanu hu na avanu we wo pa me no kwa e o di ni o no gbigbi lele na ga ituwe we
esisa e esisa
oga kin ega we no kwa e ni egbo wa na to ta ro akota wo be wo ro me no kwa o filu sana hin awudun gbororo awe ama no rie ma we o po wa no kwa e o pa ama o be sunu egbe fin aye we ni so sunu na ama no kwa e ni hu do ni wagi ma ya mana hia o ni ma ya lele ni ma re dode oba atokpe
ni wa ama e ma gun akasi ama owo salobwa iwe oro ama o salobwa iyi no salobwa yi no keke ni ma lele na re rai ama re do le ro no we keke ni ma ru na re ya wa ama vero no ye na ya ku mane dokia yinu ka yeso ba we ebowe yana edo yiro bo sie oda iya ni ma ite ka we gi magba aro yan do wa mawuto o ipe iya ni yan ki no iku na wa ya abi do ile wo wa ni abi gbo ni aye katikati ya ni ropeze ya se mi na ge niko ga ya se ya fe ye dogire ni ama no manya to ni ba we he na na me we ekini manya ma ye nya wo de gbe mama te ka ne ni adoku lima but we ga we wan no kin are de yo we yo to le lewe ama no wa na mure na le wa na ye na e ma keke
o do keke ni ma ga ma ni ma ya me ba da ma ni ma me wo to ma ya nya
ama mani amo hin ma na yi na me we ari tiko amata mama u ga yi na de na be u no bebo e bona gano ye we ga yi na awe tu ye owu ya yo ge sosi ama oro amaro na ya be ka eru na awe keno de ade awe ru ana airu ana be ya pe ama e ya ni wa ya ju we iro ri aye ma ka bo yin wa ya fe edinu pe na lele ilele orima ama orima nege wi ya ebe no otueye kaweta ama oredo no pataki ni ma lele wo mana beta uza no gbera ya si jogbe ase ya ni ma ye de ni bun yi wo ni bun ni orari akugbe ni ma orari ni ma webu iviedo amaredo yan ile le orewo yan ile orewo bi orewo ni ma ba ma orewo ni pasi ma ya orewo na mi ewo egbeso ma iya me kini adi ya me kini akede ma wa mo ri anya hu ama no ya se gbowodo ama no ma ya omodo be ya se gbo so agbaja
da ma na ya no omodo ama ro na ya ku no omodo
so agbaja mi we
no fi lele lo ekan
so agbaja mi we ọma ọ̀dọ́ ipa ọ̀rẹ́ àwọ̀ ọmọ àmà ọmọ ẹ̀mí nìkú oníwèéwú.
yes ọwà ẹ̀wẹ̀ ọrùwọ̀ àpẹẹ̀nì ọ̀yìrì bí ọ̀yìrà ọ̀yẹ̀wù n'ekwi àmà náà rí èmà wẹ̀ ọrùwọ̀ àpẹẹ̀ ẹ̀yìn náà fún dọ́ọ̀lì ọ̀rọ̀ akọ̀ wọn nà mẹ́mìnà hìn àtàmà ọ̀hìn ọ̀bọ̀wọ̀nù n'ẹ̀dọ̀mí ẹ̀wẹ̀ tudógí ọ̀rọ̀ náà àgàwẹ̀ àdùgí ọ̀gọ̀gọ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ èmà mà nà yàwẹ̀ ọmọ náà yà àdùgí ẹ̀mí èso ni orúwe yàrá orúwe náà vi ni ama náà kó àná dè náà yà ẹ̀ka náà náà gbófin orúwe ama náà rí èmà wẹ̀ àdá ọ̀dùgí ọ̀gọ̀gọ̀ ọdún zẹ̀sẹ̀ ọmọ àná ọ̀gọ̀gọ̀ ọmọ
wàgùnrẹ́ gbòòrò òrùwé kọ́ náà gbé náà sí ọmọ
ama ní orúwe nìyí ama náà rí èmà wẹ̀ ògí ọ̀gọ̀gọ̀ ẹ̀ ọdún ni ibi ni ọ̀rẹ́ máa wẹ àkìẹ̀ ẹ̀rọ máa ní yé mi ọ̀nà rẹ̀ mi wẹ wàrẹ̀ mọ́ yàtọ̀ gbẹ́ lónìí kàtà ẹ̀bọn ọ̀rọ̀ àfẹ́ iná mú gbósẹ̀fù ìyànnì ẹ̀gbá ọ̀rọ̀ àfúẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ yẹ àmà ọ̀pàlọ́ ọ̀mú àmà yọ náyà yẹ ẹ̀ o dèrò ọmọ náà yà á dò ní èrè ìrúwọ́wọ́ gé báyìí àgàgọ́ alẹ́sẹ̀ bá gbọ́ yẹn mú ọkọ̀ mọ́ náà àgàgẹ́lẹ́ rẹ̀ rámà ní ìmẹ̀ yìí ọmọ yìí a máa yọ kọ̀kọ̀ ẹ ọmọ yìí a máa yẹ ẹ̀wẹ̀ ẹ ọ̀fà lọ yẹ ọba yìí ha ọ̀gà kíkún awọ ọwọ́ kọ̀kọ̀ ọ̀yà yọ rẹ ama nọ́kọ́ ẹ̀ nọ ọgọ̀ wọn sì ní èmi ọgọ̀ wọn ayé mi ọmọ ayé o ní ẹgbẹ́ ọmọ náà mú ẹ̀pẹ́ gbọ́mà ẹgbẹ́ ọmọ náà mú ẹ̀fọ́ ukunu wẹ̀tú ẹ ara wa ta àwọn ẹgbẹ́ náà ọmọ náà yà ẹgbẹ́ ní ẹ̀ nọ adunẹwu zọmọ wàlàhọ wàhálà máa mú ẹpin nígbìmọ ìfọwọ́ ọba àtọpẹ
òtù ẹ ọtẹ.
ilé máa dàtú ẹ ìpè àkèyíkù ìdánihìmá ìdàtú ẹ ìpè àkèyíkù ìrẹ igosa ìrẹ tàtú ẹ ìrẹ dùnmùnà iná bi dàtú ẹ ìrẹ ẹwò ìrẹ ugbógu kèrè ìrẹ kọha fún ìgbégu wàhíàrọ
òwẹsì mẹ lè má jòtú ẹ ìmá yàfẹ ní ìdánihìmá má jòtú wà yàfẹ sábàánù tó wáyà fẹ́ arọ lè jòtó àwọn ìkàmẹ́ tó yà fẹ́ ìgbọ́ba dọ̀lẹ̀ wòye àjọ tó wà nírí igbó ènìyàn wà kìnìún sí ibi ẹ̀ òní rẹ̀ yé kọ̀bíà ibi ẹ̀ òní rí yokòrè wọn nírẹ̀ yé wọn ò dẹ nírẹ̀ èyí yà fẹ́ ẹ̀rọ yẹ ẹ̀tiẹ̀ ọ̀tẹ̀mẹ́gẹ̀ ẹ̀rọ ìyàjò tó wáyà fẹ́ ọ̀ àdùnnà ló wáyà fẹ́ ìrọ̀ iná ní ẹ̀ma wẹ̀ yà nìwé dàn wẹ̀ yìí mà ibi ẹ̀ dòkèrè wà rí ayé afẹ́ osabano ge duna no wa ya fe no ama ni magwa kana na ge ya we mi uhi ama hi age mi u hunda eyinu ge ona ga ama ana gbe yo to egbe no to ka ma una so we rai ama orene eyinu gbo ma gbe se ama no uyore court uyore politics uyore ya fe ama ya hi no gu mayaro salubano ge doma ni ma ya fẹ́ ọba àtọpẹ iṣẹ́.
ITV, certainly the best.
Ojúde aṣáájú abẹ́rẹ́ tó pẹ́. Àyàbá sọ́kì abẹ́rẹ́ tó pẹ́. Àdàyè àtọ́jú abẹ́rẹ́ tó pẹ́. Wajua.
ITV, certainly the best.
Black masquerade popular among the people of Imo and River states. This masquerade is referred to in Igbo land as Okorocha or Achiku Orji black societies. This black masquerade is popularly prominent in Imo and River States regions, functioning as both spiritual entities and active enforcers of community norms. This masquerade is considered as the spirit of the dead, representing the ancestors and the living, offering guidance, protection, and judgments.
This masquerade acts as the people's police, enforcing and applying during festivals, ceremonies, and in cases, enforcing rules by marking property or punishing wrongdoers. The Black Masquerade engineers the modern community, bringing joy, wipe away sorrow as the people enjoy brotherhood throughout the masquerade dance. The masquerade performance remembered the community of love and shared of friendship that is embedded in the society.
Just come up from him. Come up from him.